back, everybody, and we've got a couple of storms here that have decided to make a bit of a ruckus here. And it's interesting. We have a couple of things at play here. One is the stationary front, and then there's also some outflow boundaries kind of floating around, and just different little triggers that are popping up these storms. And we are looking at these storms in mostly Johnson County, kind of bleeding into western Ellis County here. And it's funny, if you remember earlier when I made a quick little video in front of the green screen, I talked about the fact that, it was interesting to me that they didn't include Ellis County in the severe thunderstorm watch. Alas, now they have. So they kind of went, oh, I guess it, could actually extend over that way. And so they did actually put Ellis County in that severe thunderstorm watch. So what you're seeing is that severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 6 p.m. And so that will take us to the next 50 minutes. Now, these storms are not moving much. And so I'm a little concerned about flooding with these as well, just because they're going nowhere fast. I'm watching to see if these are going to continue on, bringing heavy rain to the same, areas. Rio Vista getting hit pretty hard right now, going to be moving towards Grandview. And if we zoom in a little bit, in the Maypearl area as well. So, yeah, I mean, rural parts, mostly rural areas of Johnson and Ellis counties right now, as far as where these storms are. They're moving southward, but I mean, they're just not moving very quickly. So let's see, where are they clocking these things? Southeast at 20. Yeah, that sounds about right. Small hail off and on at our house between Grandview and Maypearl. Yeah, so that's going to be the easternmost storm, and this severe thunderstorm warning, again, I mean, it covers a pretty large area and continues until 6 o'clock. So I'm curious to see if these storms even make it into, the Hillsborough and Milford areas. I would say Hillsborough and Itasca areas, because I mean it's reaching for Italy, reaching for Milford, and of course, if you are in this area, then you would have gotten a phone call from me by way of weather call, because there was a severe thunderstorm warning issued. And if you're interested in having that available to you, I have put that in the description here. So that way, you can get a phone call when a warning is issued. You don't have to worry about the notifications from the Alexa on your Echo, and these kind of different things that are going on. These alerts that don't really get a whole lot of, they don't really do too well sometimes. I hear a lot of complaints and a lot of confusion and those kind of things. The nice thing is, there's not much confusion with weather call. It's been pretty straightforward. I've gotten a lot of positive reviews on that, and so pretty happy with that product so far. So I'm not seeing any kind of rotation with these storms or anything. Not seeing any signs of extremely large hail with these. So that's the nice part about it. I think that we could see some gusty winds from these, but really, I'm just not seeing much of a concern there. I think the biggest concern with these is probably, it's probably going to, hang on one second. So Jamie Campbell, you're saying, it just said Midlothian, Waxahachie, and Ennis to take urgency protocols. What are you referring to there? Not really sure what you're referring to. But these storms moving south very, 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 very slowly. But the main concern with these is going to be, possibly large hail. Yeah. Okay, so apparently Apple is saying for Midlothian, Waxahachie, and Ennis to take urgency protocols. I'm not sure what's all that's referring to, but I'm assuming you're maybe close enough to the warning that it pinged you or something. I'm not sure. But if you don't get a notification, if you don't get a call from Weather Call, then you are probably not in your or you're not in the warning. Okay, so I got a picture of this, and it looks like. Okay, so that's referring to the watch. Yeah, action recommended says monitor the situation and take precautions if necessary. Urgency, take action in the near future. So yeah, that's talking about the watch. Um, that's the urgency. It's saying, basically with that it's saying urgency, and then it's describing what the urgency is. So it's just saying take action in the near future if needed. So it's not saying it's urgent now. It's just saying here's how they would describe the urgency of the bulletin they just gave you. So it's not quite as I guess intimidating as it may seem. But I mean that's it's describing the watch. So you just kind of have to read carefully what you're looking at there. And how that's formatted. Hail and rain east of Grandview. So if we take a look at, let's take a look at the hail cores here. Two distinct hail cores here, just on the east side of Rio Vista, and then just northeast of Grandview. So that's where we're looking at. Again, just west side of Rio Vista, and then northeast of Grandview. Anything? Let's see. Kaylee, you're asking anything expected to pop up in Tarrant and push south down to us. So, Callie, I'm not sure. Did you give your location? Oh, Venus. Okay. I mean, it's possible. That's the thing is we're kind of looking at a situation today where we have to wait and see where things pop up. I mean, I can't really tell you for certain, where things may pop up. I mean, it could be just about anywhere. Really almost along I-35 West here is kind of the corridor of where things are expected to happen. Edward Gomez, yeah, I mean it's not a terribly big storm that we're looking at. Two fairly small storms, but I mean they're making a point. They're making it happen. Pixel Dash 3D on YouTube. Nothing headed to Waxahachie right now. I mean, you can see on the map right there that those storms are kind of headed away from Waxahachie, and you'll see them. You might hear them, but they're not headed towards Waxahachie right now. So, let's see. Both Brian Duke said both anvils are kind of connected above some Mansfield. Pretty cool looking. Yeah, so, I mean, that's the thing. In Milford, you're going to see both of them really kind of on either side of you. And just to broaden this out, I'm just going to leave the map up there because there's going to be a lot of people asking, hey, is something headed to me? This is the best... this is going to be the best way to communicate that. Because I know there's going to be people from all over the area saying, hey, is it headed my way? But you can just see on the map there. So this way it's nice and clear for you. And you can see where it's going. Sherry, I got my weather alert call and text message. Very satisfied with the service. So yeah, weather call is fantastic. That's the thing. You if you're focused on things, and I mean it's a Sunday, we've all got things to do. We're either resting or we're getting ready for the week, and I mean, nobody has time to sit here and dilly dally around with paying attention to the weather like I do. That's what I'm here for, right? And then you can pay weather call, and it will get your attention if needed. If not, hey, there's nothing to worry about. Lauren, we can hear it thundering in Midlothian, but still looks clear. Yeah, so I mean, there's nothing over Midlothian, but you can still hear the thunder from the storms that are nearby there. That's the thing. It's always interesting. It's funny to see the things people post on social media. There was one where they're in the car and they're looking at they're looking at the rearview mirror, and you can see out the front window that it's clear skies, and then in the rearview mirror you can see it's a dark sky because there's a storm behind them. And they're going, "This is crazy." And I'm thinking, I mean, I guess, but the storm doesn't necessarily have to cover the entire the entire sky. So it's just funny to see how people post things, and this is crazy. And I'm kind of going, I mean, that's kind of just how it works, right? The storm can be behind you and then not in front of you. That's a normal kind of thing. Sunny Bayless hailing in Rio Vista. Marble-sized hail falling now between Grandview and Maypearl. Patty Pritchard, is this the last of it today? I mean, no. I mean, we kind of just got started. We're the sun's still up. We're still fairly warm, and we could still get more storms. So no, we're not wrapped up yet. We just got these two storms, and there could be more in addition to this. So I would say we're probably far from done. We have a severe thunderstorm watch. Ellis County, which was just added to that watch several minutes ago, and so I would say that we are not close to done at this point. We still got plenty of time to get a few storms, and it looks like these might be trying to weaken here. I would not be shocked if these are the kinds of storms that are going to increase in intensity and then weaken and then increase, kind of back and forth and back and forth. So I wouldn't be shocked if we see these things kind of cycle down and then cycle up and then just go back and forth the whole time. Let me. There we go. Couldn't figure out why that wasn't up there. All right, so let's just zoom in a little bit. These are the two storms that we're watching. These prompted the severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 6 p.m. here, so about another 38 minutes. Yeah, I know there's probably lots of folks out there mowing today, trying to get the yard in check before more storms arrive. I'm sure that'll be me tomorrow. I'll be mowing and trying to get things looking nice and pretty before we have several chances of storms coming up this week. I mean, we're looking at tomorrow probably being dry, and then we'll get into more storm chances starting, it looks like late Tuesday, then Wednesday, and then Thursday. So that's kind of where things stand right now in terms of when to expect. Hold on, let me just fix the camera here. There we go. That's better. So Pixel Dash 3D. How do I send photos? Best way is going to be on our Facebook page. So send the message to Facebook on that, or you can send it to my email, which is kevin@southmetroweather.com. And Araceli, you're asking how long are the storms staying in Hill County? Well, I mean, they're barely in Hill County at this point. Hard to say exactly how long they're going to be there because it depends on if, number one, they last long enough to move down there. They're moving very slowly. The severe thunderstorm warning that includes parts of Hill County goes until 6 o'clock. So I would say, unless it's canceled earlier than that, let's hang with these things at least till 6. I hate to say it, but we're kind of in a wait and see with all this stuff. Colton, it's a ways away from Corsicana. I don't believe it's going to make it there because these are moving mostly south at this point and very slowly at that. So I'm not thinking that Corsicana has much to be concerned about from these storms. Sunny, anything serious for Rio Vista? I mean, yeah, if you got small hail, I mean, what you're seeing is what you've got because the storm is right on top of you. So, I mean, what you've got is what I expect for Rio Vista. There's not anything really besides that. Shelby, not sure if there's going to be more after this or not. Kind of depends on if and when more storms develop. It's one of those days where we just kind of have to watch and see. It's I know that that's frustrating for a lot of people, but that's kind of just where we're at right now. It's kind of a wait and see deal. Abel, do I think anything is going to happen in Waxahachie or Midlothian a bit later? Like I was saying, I mean, it's kind of a wait and see thing. We're not really sure. It depends on if more storms develop, and if they do, where do they develop? Where do they go? Kind of a loose cannon day a little bit, so it's hard to say either way what we should expect. We're kind of in a wait and see deal. So we've got that severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock. So, from 10 o'clock, from the Metroplex on south and west, more storms are possible. But again, it just depends on where they go. Derek Cooper, that southern storm is going to consolidate and go southeast. It's already kind of moving south-southeast, and then we'll see what happens, I guess. But are you saying it's going to combine with the other storm? I'm not sure what you're referring to there, but we'll see what happens. Some of these storms are very hard to know exactly what is going to happen with these, especially these little ones that kind of just are moving all around. Pixel Dash, you're saying, yeah, it says thunderstorms later today for Waxahachie. I'm not sure what it is, but probably another service. I can't speak to what somebody else says, but I can tell you that it just depends. It just depends on what we see. So again, severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock. So you got to treat that as severe storms are possible until 10 o'clock. And it looks like that storm near Rio Vista may be cycling up again. So it weakened for a while. It may now be cycling up again. And we have a new storm now picking up speed, picking up intensity, really, to the west of Godley. Little storm right outside of Godley. And it looks like whether that's a little outflow boundary, that's what it looks like. It's just moving more quickly. That just moved through that storm. So it looks like that gave it a little bit of a big push. And man, the South Metro Weather logo, I've got to figure this out. So the South Metro Weather logo on there, down in the bottom right, I forgot to fix that before we went on the air because I'm a genius like that. I've been staring at this computer all day and didn't fix that. Let me see if I can at least... I'm going to end up going like back and forth on this, aren't I? Okay, there's that one. Okay, that's fixed. Pixel Dash, you hear the edge of the thunderstorms right now in Waxahachie, and you also see lightning in Waxahachie. Yeah, so you're going to see lightning from Waxahachie. Doesn't necessarily mean that the storm is headed directly your way. So that's something to remember too. Spatial awareness is something that can be interesting with storms because people will say, man, I'm getting thunder in Waxahachie. Right, but it doesn't, that's not an indication that the storm is there. Now, that said, that does come with a little bit of a cautionary tale that lightning can strike 30 miles outside of a storm. I know that's wild. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. All right, so Parker, is there a weather radar app you recommend? So I am I'm using radar Omega right now. That's what I have on tap here. So um, that's what you're looking at least. Now, here's the thing: this storm or this radar is not this is not stock with Radar Omega. This has a custom color table with it. So if you're trying to figure out how to get it to look exactly like what I have, I mean, you can get in touch with me and I can talk you through it. But it's I've got a different color table uploaded, so you have to kind of keep that in mind. So you hear, so Dana, you hear rumbling in Whitney, but looks to miss us. So I'm not sure. It kind of depends on if it continues to move southward. Is it continue to move southward, or are we looking at a situation where, it kind of runs out of steam before it gets there? So it could be headed towards Whitney, but it kind of depends on if it gets there or not. So again, it's kind of a wait and see that we're going to have to wait and see. Pixel Dash 3D, any free ones? So let me look at that. So I think if you're looking for a free, I think Radar Scope is free. Is Radar Omega? What does that cost in the App Store? I guess I can't actually see if I've got it downloaded. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not. Honestly, I forget. I forget what costs what, because I can't. When I've got it downloaded, I can't see what the cost is. Okay, so it's $10. Okay, I mean it's well worth it. But I mean, if you're looking for something, I think Radar Scope, I think that's free. KZ Flores, hey Kevin, what about buying them? Maybe Futurecast if possible. A couple of things. Number one, Futurecast is weather models. So when they say Future Radar or Futurecast, they're giving their own brand name to it. Two, models are not really helpful right now because whether you get a storm or not, all depends on, number one, where these go and how far they make it, which you kind of have to wait and see on that. And then also, it depends on where the storms pop up, and models cannot tell you exactly where storms are going to pop up. So this is not really a day where those models and those Futurecast, radars will help much, unfortunately. It's a wait and see. So Radar Scope and Radar Omega cost something. I think there's that My Radar or something that's free. The two that I recommend cost something. So I'm sure there are radar. I'm sure there is radar software that that is free that you can use. But I mean, for what I recommend personally, I personally do recommend those two. So the severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled. Those storms have since gone below severe limits. So, we're going to see those kind of cycle up and down, I think. We're going to see them pick up steam and then weaken, and then pick up steam and then weaken. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with these. But, I mean, that storm near Godley looks like that is probably running out of steam as well. So not much more happening at the moment. These are going to have plenty of lightning and thunder. They'll have some heavy rain. But the good news is that the severe weather threat has kind of dropped off here. So Derek Cooper, best thing to do is follow Kevin and other tornado chasers like Reed Timmer and Steve McCauley. So let me clarify that a little bit. Reed Timmer, yes, he's a storm chaser. Steve McCauley, he's a meteorologist, not a storm chaser. He used to be on WFAA Channel 8 in Dallas, is not anymore. He's actually teaching up at University of Texas at Dallas, I believe. But I mean, those are different sources, right? That you can get information from. There's a storm near Lipan, up northwest of Granbury, that's picking up steam. So it almost seems to me like these storms are going to pop up. They're going to be real high and mighty for a while, and then they kind of cycle down, and they'll cycle up and down, and it'll just be a kind of an up and down ride for the next, presumably the next 4 hours or so. Pixel Dash, yeah. I mean, you can try my radar. I personally, I think if you're just looking for something basic, iRadar is probably okay. Obviously, I have to have something a little more detailed. But I mean, if you're looking for something basic just to kind of see where things are, I'm sure my radar would fulfill that need. Let me just take a look at something. So, I mean, models, we talked a little bit, somebody asked about it, and I talked a little bit about how models are just not very helpful in a situation like this, because everything depends on where storms pop up, and they can't tell you exactly where they're going to pop up. Models did have storms popping up to our west and kind of moving our way, which I guess this is kind of what it was interpreting here, that we're seeing right now. But I mean, it if you're looking at some future cast, like I said, future radar or whatever, that's showing the NAM model, you're probably going to see more of these things popping up and moving east into our area. And in that case, I mean, we could see more, but again, don't take into gospel exactly where they show up. John Shubin, why do 3 different weather apps show different weather for the same location? Well, because they all have different algorithms, and they're all a computer trying to interpret weather models. The problem with these apps with forecasts is 9 times out of 10, it's not something that a meteorologist crafted and published. It's computers reading weather models, and they all have a different algorithm and that kind of thing. And people have asked, before, why don't I make a weather app? And that's why. Because if I'm going to have that, hourly weather forecast, if I'm going to have that hourly forecast that's automated and constantly updating, I'm going to have to rely on a computer to set up a forecast. And that's going to lead to me having to let's see, where am I going? It's going to lead to I'm trying to find the best way to say this without it's going to lead to me putting my name on something that isn't reliable. I put a forecast out most mornings, usually Saturday through Friday. Saturday mornings I do something a little different, try to give myself a little bit of a break. But, each morning I'll publish a forecast, and if my forecast is different than what's on the app, I feel like I'm not being honest. I mean, that's just intellectually dishonest of me to do that. So I'm not going to do that. So I refuse to proceed that way. I mean, that's just the way that is. I think somebody mentioned WeatherWise. It's funny. I hadn't heard of WeatherWise before it was mentioned. Maybe a couple of weeks ago. I had never used it, and I looked at it, and I saw some content from it. I know Ryan Hall is partnered with them, and there's some kind of a paid subscription, I guess, where Ryan Hall's something rather. I don't know. Not sure what's going on there, but that's why I don't, sign up with automated forecasts, is because that automated forecast may say something different than me because it's taking all these different weather models. And the reason those automated forecasts, seem to change constantly is because every time there's a new model, they reconfigure the algorithm and say, oh, well, now it's going to be this. So instead of looking at the trends, instead of looking at the big picture, it's going to change its mind constantly because there's the smallest change in a weather model. And I mean, it's just the gospel truth changes hourly. Now, I understand that weather forecasts change. Trust me, I'll be the first to tell you that. But I don't know that we need to be constantly changing it that much, that frequently. And it makes it really hard to, I think, for the general public to follow it. When, like you're saying, it's gonna be 3 different apps that all say something different. And then when you're looking at Channel 8's app, you could be comparing that to what Pete Douglas is telling you on TV, going, okay, but the app says this and Pete is saying this, so which one do I believe? I don't want to get into that trap. I think that's dishonest, and that's not to say that anybody that has an app is being dishonest. That's just my perspective on it. I would rather stick with what I personally can tell you. Oh man, I'm trying to. The fam is ordering dinner, and I've got to let Terry know what I want. she's asking, and now I gotta. Oh, now I gotta download that app again and look for. Oh, why is it not there? By the way, if you hear the screaming in the background, everybody's fine. kids are playing. So, where? Okay, somebody help me out. There's a way, right, where. I'll tell you, trying to order dinner on an app is just getting more and more complicated. There we go. Then I got to go over here and crop it. So, is anybody still seeing hail out of this storm? If you want to send me a report. That would be amazing. Let me go back. Let me see if there's any other comments on this. Storms are behaving fairly decent given the environment they're popping in. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't know that the environment has, especially since they're depending on lifting mechanisms, because there's the outflow boundaries, there's the stationary front, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, the farther away they go, and especially when they go east of the farther east they go from the outflow boundary, or from the behind the outflow boundary, but also farther east from the stationary front, that's more stable air. So on the west side of it, you have a better likelihood of seeing stronger storms, but on the east side of it, I mean, behind the outflow boundary, behind the all that is more stable air. And so that's going to lead to storms that are notably not as intense. So that's going to be a just kind of a reality with them. So it doesn't surprise me too much that the storms in Johnson and Hill and parts of Ellis County are not that intense at this point. You notice the one closest to that outflow boundary, the one immediately behind it, near Godly, is the most intense right now. And that storm, I mean, it just got a boost from the outflow boundary, but it's probably going to weaken fairly quickly. So I'll tell you, I mean, it's really, really dependent on, um, who ends up getting the storms, but also just how intense they end up being, and they probably won't be intense for very long. I would say any kind of severe thunderstorm warnings we get tonight will probably be fairly brief. Yeah, the picture I'm getting from the vertically integrated liquid 2 is delayed, but maybe we'll get an update here pretty soon. I mean, you can see the storm near Blum, north of Itasca, north of Grandview. So those are, I mean, we were looking at pretty decent hail cores in those, and I mean, there may be some small hail still, but I mean, that's not going to be much. Just west of Godly, though, that's where we have that little hail core and that little storm, but I imagine we're probably going to see a weakening trend with that one as well. We'll see what that update does. I've got that on another screen here, but I would imagine the storms that are out there right now probably not going to intensify very much at all. I think for the most part, we're going to see these things weaken quite a bit, and I mean, they're don't get me wrong, they're still going to be noisy. I mean, this storm in south of Grandview, that thing is loud. I mean, just look at all the lightning with it. That's going to be a noisy storm. So it's going to sound really terrible, but the thing is that some of these storms have a lot more bark than bite, especially when they get that much lightning attached to them. Now, lightning itself can be a threat, but I just mean that it doesn't always, how it looks and sounds doesn't always equate to the reality of the storm itself. They like to make an impression. They like to make a lot of noise, get a lot of attention, but, I'm not thinking it's going to be too terribly intense when all is said and done. Blaze to Boss, yeah, I'll be okay with no severe storms popping tonight in Freestone. Yeah, Freestone County had your fair share earlier tonight with the storms that went through earlier this evening. So yeah, no, I totally hear you. Earlier this afternoon, actually. I completely hear you because, man, you guys really had it rough there for a while. And I'm looking, and these storms, a couple of these storms are starting to pick up steam. So that storm north of Toller continues to intensify. That's kind of been on a trend here. And then the storm just north of Whitney, looks like that one is picking up steam here. So the storm north of Whitney looks like it is headed towards the Whitney area now, maybe moving a little more quickly. And we are starting to see the hail pick up in that storm. So we're definitely looking at, I would say the Whitney area, you might be getting prepared for a severe storm here. Or, well, it's not severe at this time, maybe severe later, but at least a stronger storm. So I would say, be prepared for, it doesn't look like there's much wind in this storm, but there's definitely some hail. So at least some small hail, probably headed towards the Whitney area. Whitney and Hillsborough need to pay attention to that. The storm that is south of Grandview, that's going to be north of Itasca. Looks like that's probably headed towards the Milford-Carls Corner area. I would say that one is, it's not severe at this point. It's noisy. It's got a lot of lightning and thunder. It's going to have a lot of heavy rain. Could be some small hail in that storm, but not too terribly much. And then some hail possible near Godly and north of Toller as well. So where these storms are lined up, I mean, there could be, kind of adjust that so you can see that there. There could be, plenty of hail on the smaller size, I would say, at this point. Back towards Gordon, north of Stephenville. Man, Gordon got hit pretty hard by a tornado not too terribly long ago, and now they're getting some hail in that area too. So that's quite a heavy storm. But none of these are severe at this time. No severe warnings are currently in effect. A weird cloud north of Hillsboro. Posting on your last post for you to look at. So let's take a look and see what you're sending there. Let me go find that post so I can look at that picture. That's interesting. So, mm-hmm. So Jake, where exactly are you? You said north. How far north of Hillsboro are you? Because what I'm looking at, that's an interesting cloud indeed. That would look like yeah, that looks like a try. It's trying to form a wall cloud to me, but I'm not seeing. Having trouble seeing some rotation to go along with that. But how far north of Hillsboro are you talking? Are you talking closer to Itasca, or where is that? I don't know if he's still watching or not, but that's I would love to get more information on that for sure. I'm checking here. Checking that storm. I'm not seeing areas of rotation, but the picture itself. Let me see if I can get that pulled up to show everybody here. Let me get that picture. Let's see. All right, I'm going to pull this up and just kind of show everybody what we're looking at. I guess Jake may not be watching anymore, but so this is what we're looking at. Let me get this. Get that off of there. This is what we're looking at. So, I mean, yeah, that you see the striations here, even some Kelvin Helmholtz right there along that. But I mean, you see that there, and that looks. Now, granted, I mean, you can see some striations here, and granted, I'm not seeing it in motion, so I'm not there looking at it. But Jake, where exactly are you? And you said north of Hillsboro. That's a pretty broad area. Where are you closer to Itasca? Where are you located? Okay, so near Carl's Corner. So that would make me think that it's. That would make me think it's on the leading edge of the storm. So that might be a developing shelf cloud then. So it's on the leading edge of the storm then. And that's looking north, correct? Okay, let me get back over to. I'm going to get the radar back up here and try to get some more information here on what we're looking at. Okay, so that's going to be looking north towards Itasca. You said closer to 81. I apologize for all the noise in the background there. So, I mean, 81 is northbound, so I'm not really sure. Okay, so right in between. Okay, yeah, that's going to be hard to. That's going to be hard to call. Man, I don't. Yeah, I don't see any kind of rotation there, but it's hard to see. Um, okay, so we've got another picture coming in. Let me see if I can get that pulled up here. Araceli, is that in Messenger, I guess? Okay, so. All right, so Araceli, yeah, you sent in this picture, and so it's interesting. What you're showing doesn't have that lowering. So Jake Reeves, you're saying it vanished. Did it move upward into the cloud, or Araceli, if you can get video, can you get video of this? I gotta see the motion. I gotta see how this thing is moving. I gotta see what it's doing, because once I can see what it's doing, I'll have a better idea of what we're looking at. Let's see. There was another question asking about when does the severe weather season end for us this spring. I guess it's fairly impossible to really predict. Yeah, I mean, there's no way to say, hey, it's going to end on this day. I mean, that doesn't happen. I mean, we're in a pretty typical pattern for late May, early June, where we kind of get these fronts that kind of sit there and hang out for a while. So, I mean, this is not very atypical at this part of the year. All right, so Araceli, I'm looking at your video. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to tell. Man, if that was, I would tell you, if that was north of Whitney, that would almost make more sense. But, I mean, we're looking north of Hillsborough towards Itasca. Man, oh man. Yeah, I mean, this is just. And these pictures are beautiful. This structure on this storm. I mean, this is pretty stereotypical. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second, folks. Okay, had to have a chat with the kiddos. All right, so yeah, I'm watching these videos, and that is definitely just kind of a rain-free base. I mean, that's the base of the storm, and that is a indication to me that the updraft. Man, these pictures look good. Look good. This is just wild. Um, I appreciate everybody sending that in because this is it's a very where's that other? Let's see. There was another picture I got that was just. Let me see if I can get this one pulled up here for you. This is very typical of a supercell and tells me that this storm is definitely trying to intensify because this one, I mean, my goodness. Let me see. Let me get this pulled up for you. All right, so that is beautiful. That's from Mr. Bo Collins. Sent that picture in, and this is all. I assume this is all from the Hillsborough area, looking north. But I mean, that's what we're seeing, and that's what you're seeing on the ground. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of open space where it's kind of hard to see what the winds are doing, but that's impressive. But that storm definitely needs to be paid attention to here. See, I'm looking at some other pictures and stuff too that people are sending. So I wouldn't at this juncture. I wouldn't specifically call that a lowering. I'm not seeing a concentrated area of rotation or anything. Okay, so Tammy, you're saying north of Whitney? Man, oh man, this is going to get confusing. I'm getting a lot of different location reports. Now, that was near Blum. That was... Now, Bo... So, I'll tell you, give me... Let me get the radar back up here because I want to reference... Okay. All right, so, I mean, I gotta get some better information here. Because, Bo, you sent that picture and you said you're near Blum. But which direction are you looking? That's what I gotta know. Because I'm not seeing any particular areas of rotation with these storms, but it's also the velocity is just kind of tough to see. It's almost like there's, I mean, the velocity, there's just a big gaping hole there. I mean, my goodness. Let's see. Okay, I'm not getting a whole lot of response. So I'm just going to have to, I guess, assume that, let's see, looked like the photo was facing northeast from where I was looking at it. Okay. I'm having trouble getting a lot of clarity on locations here. But so what I'll tell you is that picture, if we see rotation in that, if we see that continue to lower, that could be concerning. But again, it's hard for me to discern exactly which storm we're looking at. It doesn't help that there's two storms in that area, and there's this weird gaping hole on the velocity north of Hillsborough. I don't know what the deal is with that. That's just wild to me. So now I'm hearing, okay, now the radar doesn't want to work. Oh my lord. At least there's nothing happening. So I'm getting from Bo Collins looking north when it was coming towards the Blum area. So it sounds like we're talking about this southern storm here. So we're not talking about the storm near Itasca. We're talking about north of Whitney. Now, granted, those look like two different ones. So I guess each of these storms has one of these little base areas. So one of them looks, well, actually, to tell you the truth, I think it's possible too that that could have grown. So it's hard to discern, but yeah, hard to know too terribly much about what we're looking at. So neither of these storms at this point, neither of these storms are severe at this time. So that's the good news. Okay, yeah, Tammy saying you're not really seeing much of it now. So I guess it's not as well defined. Let's see. Okay, Jack, you're saying you're at the Johnson Ellis Hill County point. Yeah, well, I mean, if you're looking south, you're going to be looking through the storms. So what you're seeing there is most likely going to be on the south side of one of those storms, and so it would probably be hard to see at that location because you would have to see through the downdraft and all the rain and everything at that point. I will say near Itasca, we're seeing a decent little hail core developing there. Okay, so all right. Jake saying it looks like it broke up and all went back up. So whatever was there, I assume it sounds like that's not visible at this point. So I mean, we'll take that, under advisement. Christy Grisham says, look at these storms.net out watching the storm in Whitney. That's kind of a weird comment, but all right. Okay, all right. So not getting much commentary on that now, but so it does look like, new severe thunderstorm warning probably for this eastern storm, eh? Or, let's see, where does it pop up? Is it going to be for that storm west of Cleburne, or? Yep, there it is. Yes, so it is the storm near Cleburne. So that one has a new severe thunderstorm warning with it. That is going to be mostly a hail threat. It looks like to me, just looking at the radar, I'm not seeing, well, actually, no. Well, hail and wind. So that's got a decent little area of winds. Look like that could be getting a little bit of a downdraft, maybe a little bit of a microburst, downburst, microburst south of Godley. So that's going to be the storm that has this new severe thunderstorm warning with it. That's severe thunderstorm warning until 7 p.m. So this is going to be the latest storm that has a warning attached to it. And thank you so much. Thank you, Shannon, for your Cash App donation. Greatly appreciated there. So this new severe thunderstorm warning is for Johnson County here. You see that stretching from Cleburne down to Rio Vista, almost over to Godley and to the county line there. And that is for winds of 60 miles per hour or more and 1-inch hail. So, but if we look at just briefly, let's just take a look at the velocity here. You see that south of Godley, that is, we're looking at what could be a rush of new winds developing there. Probably a downburst, microburst, that kind of thing. Again, that's south of Godley. You see that there? Looking real close. I'm actually going to rock. Let's just take this one frame at a time here. So what you can see is you can see the winds picking up there, and then what you know that these winds, some of the winds are moving towards the radar and away from the radar. So one would imagine that that could be a sign of rotation, but it looks like that's going to be more in the core of the storm. And when you have hail like that, that's going to be a sign where you have a lot of downward motion. So I think what we could be looking at is winds moving out from the core of the storm and moving more favorably towards the radar at this point. So I think this is what we're seeing, is those winds that are, yeah, I mean, that looks like a downburst to me. So west of Cleburne, looking at some increased winds there with that particular storm that is severe warned at this time. So strong winds, large hail possible with that newly crowned severe thunderstorm. Western Navarro County, just south of the frost area, is stable. Yeah, so I mean, there's not really anything going on in Navarro County at this point. Janet Rayburn, I-35, Hillsboro, 610. So I'm assuming, are you giving your location currently, or did you send a picture in? Let me check and see. No picture unless it was posted on the thing there. So the only severe warning right now is going to be that storm west of Cleburne. We look at the hail core on that one, and that's a pretty decent hail core there. Now, Amanda, you're saying it's dark on 1304 in Abbott. I'm sure you're looking at the storms north of you and getting that. So this is just you see just a little line, and I would venture to say you can see here just kind of this, you see that little corridor. I would venture to say that's probably where the stationary front is, if I had to guess. Because it's pretty clear that there's just this line where all those storms are. So that's my guess is that's where the front is stationary right now. But the strongest storm is west of Cleburne here. This storm is putting out some gusty winds and some hail as well. And I haven't gotten confirmation of that west of Cleburne, but I can tell just by radar, and it is radar indicated per the National Weather Service. So they are noting that all of these conditions are radar indicated. We don't have confirmation of those yet. And sorry if you're hearing a lot of noise. You know what? I'm just going to move that because that's going to be really loud. So I apologize for the sound in the background. Let's see. Yes, those winds are continuing west of Cleburne. So I'm going to tell you right now that that storm west of Cleburne is probably the strongest that I've seen today. just in terms of having not only the large hail but the potentially damaging winds. And I would say, I mean, I would not be surprised if we see winds of at least, I would say at least 40 to 50 miles per hour in that downburst. Um, Severe weather criteria is going to be 60 miles per hour. And yeah, that's interesting. Just to kind of show you, you see how we have this bow shape here just south of Bono. So we showed you that there was a microburst going on or a downburst in that area. Now we're seeing those winds protrude out of the storm. So you notice that? You can see that. You can see that little bow there, the little bow shape. That's those winds protruding south. That was a terrible arrow. Let me try that again. You can see that's where the winds are coming out. Now, what we'll have to watch for is that there's going to be inflow going in with it because that can cause rotation. Not seeing that right now, but we'll have to watch that as that can be an effect of it, going forward. I doubt that. It's going to be probably more on the tail end of that storm, but we will continue to monitor that. Just to kind of show you the broader area, storms are primarily on the western side of our area in Johnson and Hill counties. The Hill County storms not looking severe at this point. I will tell you that the primary issue in Johnson or in northern Hill County right now is larger hail. That storm north of Hillsborough right now, pretty decent hail core with that between Itasca and Carl's Corner. Yeah, so it's very dark off the northwest here in Rio Vista. Yeah, so you're seeing that severe storm, and yeah, that's going to have some pretty dark skies with it and crazy lightning. We can see that on the radar as well. I'm going to try to eat dinner in the least disruptive way possible. I need to so now Iris Reyes sent in a couple of pictures. Let's see. A couple of pictures from Iris of that storm. Looking more like the, man, that's probably going to be the shelf cloud. I'm waiting to get a location, a little more detail from that. Just need to know the location, which way. Iris, if you're watching, just need to know the location and which direction you were looking when you took those pictures. I need like 8 more screens. I'm trying to do way too many things at once. All right, I want to show you these winds west of Cleburne again. So west of Cleburne, west of Bono, I'm assuming it's Bono. Okay, northwest of Glen Rose. Yeah, so you're looking. So what I'll show you. Interesting. Okay, so she's looking northwest of Glen Rose. So she's looking right at where those winds are. And what I want to show you with that, put that into motion while, so you can see those winds. You can see how those winds are progressing southward. Okay, that gust front, let's pair that with this picture from Iris Reyes. Let me get that pulled up for you here. Because man, this looks great. So let me show you. We have that here. So you can see that gust front moving southward. Now, when we look at the picture from Iris Reyes, there you can see that advancing gust front there. So that's going to be those winds that are progressing forward. So you can see that gust front forming right there. So when you're looking, now, here's the thing. The underside, you see how rugged this is. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Definitely have to keep an eye on that because we don't want anything more. We want this to be a shelf cloud. We don't want that to start rotating here. I don't see rotation at this moment, at least not anything that I'm too terribly concerned about. But let's keep it that way. And Kelsey Sims sent some from Glen Rose, so let's get back over to that, where I can see those pictures. Oh yeah. Yeah, that looks like a gust front to me. I'm not seeing I'm not seeing any kind of rotation with that. So that looks like that's going to be associated with that gust front. So and again, I mean, you can see that. The gust front, I mean, it's pretty clear right there, that bow shape making its way. So that's going to be very, very windy. So if you're in this part of Johnson County, west of Rio Vista, north of Bosque County there, northwest of Blum, east of Glen Rose, that's going to be the area where those very strong winds are headed. My word. And I mean, we're looking at, I'm not seeing anything too extreme here, but we're talking, 20, 25 miles per hour. Looks like maybe they're coming off the peak winds there, but again, you can see that gust front moving southward there. I'll tell you, I love Chipotle, but sometimes you have to get mean with these tortillas. They are way too, they're way too strong. Oh, thank you, Abe, for the very generous donation to the Cash App. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kelsey, for all the pictures. That looks like the gust front to me. Ashley, I mean, it's not really headed towards Rice. I mean, I can show you the radar here. Rice is a fair distance east of all of this, so not terribly concerned about about Rice. So there's the radar. There's an area wide look. And we had that gusty storm near Cleburne. We have storms moving into Hillsboro. Looks like that one northeast of Hillsboro, north of Whitney. Probably seeing the hail pick up a little bit there. Now that could be temporary. Could be just a temporary spike in the hail there, but not seeing anything terribly concerning at the moment. We'll take a look at the hail course here. Yep, so there's some hail north of Whitney, and then some hail in that severe warn storm. But I'm telling you, the main concern in the severe warn storm is going to be those winds. And, I mean, the way that there's just this straight line here, that's telling me that the winds are moving out, right? So, winds are moving out from that. Man, I cannot draw an arrow to save my life. But I mean, again, you can see the winds kind of moving out from that point. That's towards the radar. Red is going to be away. So that little gust front there, that's what you're seeing. So hearing that there's hail in the Woodbury area. Yeah, so that's going to be that little hail core. That's just outside of Hillsboro. And then, yeah, the heavy rain and gusty winds have made it. Kelsey Sims absolutely pouring now between Glen Rose and Cleburne. Yeah, I mean that those winds, that downburst, those winds from a downburst. I mean, it's called a downburst for a reason. They're moving down out of the clouds, so that's going to make some very heavy rain. Go back through here too and see what pictures we're getting. So Jake Reeves, I just saw the comments that you posted, those videos. Of course, that was earlier. But yeah, great pictures and stuff. I'll have to post some of those later. So for anybody that's just joining in, we have a severe thunderstorm watch in place until 10 o'clock. We have severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Johnson County until, that's going to be until 7, so about another 35 minutes or so. And then we have more storms off to the northwest of there. So again, we've been watching. Storms are all kind of along here. Now we have this little one just east of Kaufman kind of by itself, but for the most part, I think these storms off to the east are, for the most part, right along the stationary front. That's my guess. Okay, and then it looks like a little shower popping up right over Waxahachie as well. So could be seeing this activity beginning to spread a little bit more eastward here. And the primary threat with the storm near Cleburne is going to be the winds. We can actually, it looks like maybe we're seeing the gust front start to extend out from that storm, maybe make a little bit of an outflow boundary. New little storm almost right over Alvarado there. So we're getting more development here. So we're getting more widespread showers and storms that are developing. And we will probably see this continue. We have that watch until 10 o'clock. So we have a few hours here. Where we could still see more storms pop up and more of this activity continue on. Yeah, hearing that there's thunder as far away as Bardwell. Bardwell and Burleson, yeah. Burleson, you've got a stronger storm right close to you, so that makes sense. I kind of get my bearings here. So Vince, storm chaser Vince Whalty is he is covering the storm. He's near Whitney. Yeah, so he's looking at those striations just like we were. Let me do this. Okay, yeah, so he is near Blum. Okay, very cool. So yeah, Vince Whaley's watching this thing. He's near Blum right now, so he's got that severe storm north of him, and he was seeing a lot of what was similar to what the pictures that were sent in. So for this storm that is near Rio Vista, we're going to have to keep an eye on that one, especially with the winds. It looks like the winds are calming down on that storm right now, not quite as intense. Yeah, so according to the latest mesoscale discussion, tornado threat increases on the west end of the watch. Yeah, I mean when you're looking at a situation like this, you're generally going to see more unstable air on the warm side of this front, and so that's where the warm side is. And so the cooler side of the front is going to be Ellis County, Navarro County. That's why those storms that are on that side are not as intense. That's why we had the storms earlier that didn't get as intense and didn't really hold on to the intensity that much, is because we were on the more stable side of that front. So yes, on the west side of the front, that's where you're going to have the more unstable air. I'm not looking at much of an imminent tornado threat right now. We may have to pay attention to that severe storm near Cleburne, just to see what that storm does now that it had that little downburst from earlier. Seems like updrafts are pretty decent, especially when we were looking at those pictures earlier of that storm north of Whitney. But we'll kind of keep watching this one and see what we see. And I'm keeping an eye on Vince Whaley's live stream as well, because he's looking. Looks like he's looking at that storm that's just south of Cleburne. Looking at the severe warn storm at this point. Marion, there's no sirens going off in Waxahachie. And not sure of a timeline on storms heading to Waxahachie. It just kind of depends on if they get there. This is unfortunately a night where we kind of have to wait and see with most of that. I'm watching watching the Vince's view of that storm pretty closely here. We're seeing a little bit of a lowering there, though I'm not sure. It's hard to see it, but definitely watching his live stream, because he's got a live view of that storm in Johnson County. In Clint Hawley, everything is staying west of Maypearl at the moment, but that could change as everything goes on. I've had a few asking about Corsicana. I mean, if you look at the map, there's really nothing headed to Corsicana right now. So there's not anything imminent for the Corsicana area at the moment. Let's see. I'm just kind of keeping a wide view up here because I know that there's going to be people from different parts of the area that are tuning in. I want to make sure you see where you are in relation to the storms, so that if you're wondering if something's headed your way, you can see the motion on the radar there. But I'm watching a couple of things here. Okay, yeah, we definitely have a lowering on this storm north that's near Cleburne. Okay, he's got a pretty good view of that lowering there, so I'm gonna keep him on, and we're gonna keep watching this storm near Cleburne. Let's put the velocity up here. And I'm not seeing anything that has me immediately concerned, although looks like that area is degrading here, but I mean, we're still seeing some winds there. So we will have to pay attention to what that does as we go through the next several minutes, because that is a pretty clear lowering that we're looking at on Vince Wilty's stream here. So Pixel Dash 3D, I'm watching Vince Whaley. He's a storm chaser. He is just near the Blum area, looking at that storm. Now that it's pretty tough for me to determine what that lowering is. I mean, I'm seeing that almost looks like it's still that shelf cloud that we saw earlier. Because I'm not seeing, certainly not seeing any kind of intensifying rotation. Not seeing anything that has me too concerned yet. But that lowering, I mean, it is holding its shape for the most part. So if anybody has, I don't know if anybody has any view on that. But that's probably going to be, that's going to be southwest of Cleburne. Check messages and see if there's any pictures coming through. Got some pictures of a nice pictures of a let's see, nice pictures of some rainbows here. Yeah, not hearing much from Vince, so we'll have to see. So Pixel Dash, it's what I just said. It's Vince Whaley, Storm Chaser, or Storm Chaser Vince Whaley. If you have a view of that storm southwest of Cleburne, west of Rio Vista, if you got pictures, let me know, because we need to keep an eye on that storm, make sure that we're not looking at any kind of suspect lowering there. I know that Vince he's on the road, but he's got no signal at all. I'm not sure who he uses for cell signal, but they just cannot seem to make things happen. I apologize, folks. I'm trying to eat this, trying to eat dinner from Chipotle, and man, these tortillas, you just got to get medieval with these things. Abel Rose, how's it looking between Waxahachie and Midlothian? I mean, there's nothing really happening right now, but we'll have to wait and see if more storms pop up to impact that area. Vince giving us a good look at the blue sky. And it's back to, man, poor Vince. I don't know who he uses for signal, but man, they just do not. Texas has not been kind to his live streams. Okay, yeah, so I'm looking at Vince's live stream. That looks like a shelf cloud to me. I don't think we're looking at anything rotating there. That's the good news. But we still see gusty winds coming out of that storm near Cleburne. But they are degrading. So that gust front is not what it was for sure. You can see the red there. So you can see here, there's that, and then it looks like there's some there too. So yeah, that's degrading, and I would say that's not as intense as it was. So good news there. The rest of these storms, I mean, that looks like, okay, so that severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled now. So severe thunderstorm warning canceled south of Cleburne as that storm prepares to move into northern portions of Hill and Bosque counties. That little storm headed towards Burleson, that one looks like that split off, and that's headed off to the northeast here. And then little storm headed through Hillsborough right now. None of these are severe. Got some new development in parts of Ellis County here. So that's kind of what we're seeing. Mirari asking, what about Venus? So, I mean, Venus, you've got some rain headed that way. They're on the radar, but nothing heavy is headed that direction. Oh, man. Man, for a kid with food, my son is really upset. Like, you feed the guy, and he's yelling at you. I mean, it's just wild. Very upset kiddo with. I don't think I've ever been that upset when you put food in front of me. Yeah, Kayla, nothing but thunder in Venus so far. It hadn't quite made it to Venus at this point, but it's getting there. Looks like it's just kind of some less organized rain and thunder activity in the Venus area, but it's not going to do a whole lot. So Vince is using AT&T and Verizon Wireless bonding. Well, neither one of those apparently are doing him a whole lot of favors. Nathan, I'll call him in Mansfield. Yeah, there's not really anything in Mansfield yet. Looks like there could be some new development going on in the northern parts of both counties. Man, are there a lot of storm chasers watching that? How many storm chasers we got out there? Hold on. It's getting late in the season, which means you have a lot of storm chasers that will... he's the only one there. Okay, so he's the only one. But it looked like there's several chasers off on the side of the road. So hearing thunder now at the studio in Northeast Waxahachie. So probably from some of this new development in northern Ellis County. So I'll tell you, there's nothing severe in our area right now. No severe warnings at this moment. Now, with that said, some of these storms are on the stronger side. I would say, small hail can't be ruled out in either one of these little storms in Hill and Johnson counties. And I'd say that the storm north of Godley, I mean, it's not moving much at all between Godley and Benbrook. Ooh, there's some good thunder. And then, of course, like I say, we have this new development between Red Oak, Ferris. between Red Oak, Ferris, and Kaufman there. New little shower near Glen Rose. It's definitely getting more widespread here. Trying to get a drink here. And not make a mess, which was a pretty failed mission, unfortunately. Okay, where... There's a lot of noise. I'm sure the kid's having fun, but, like, good Lord. I don't know what he's doing in there, but at least he's enjoying doing it. Ooh. So the thunder's getting louder. So just, as a precaution here, thunder in Midlothian, thunder in Red Oak. These storms, northern Ellis County, are waking up for sure. Quite the noisemakers there. So the sun is still up, but man, some of you are saying that it's getting pretty dark, and I am not surprised. So let me clean now that I made a nice mess right here on the desk. No severe warnings right now. Severe thunderstorm watch continues until, let's see, continues until 10. And you know what? Let me look. Okay. So we're going to start watching this storm in northern... Let me look at something really quickly here. Yeah, it's interesting. We've got storm chasers that are watching this storm over in Johnson County, moving into northern Hill County, but there's just not, I don't see anything really going on with it. I mean, they want to watch it. They clearly see something worth paying attention to. But this is the part of the season we start getting into where, storm chasers that's thin pickings. As we start getting into summer, everything starts to dry up eventually. And so they're trying to get everything they can get now before the season ultimately ends. So, I'm looking at Vince's live stream here, and so moving into northern Bosque County, northern Hill County, this storm south of Cleburne, it's not severe at this time, but has a pretty nice looking, a very nice looking gust front with it. But it doesn't look like it's able to rotate at this point. And Crystal Bradley, thank you so much for the picture earlier from north of Hillsboro. Great picture there. Zaid, you're saying there's a wall cloud forming in Waxahachie. From that little guy, I don't know. Send me a picture, Zaid. Let me get a picture of that. If you're gonna, that's the thing. If you're saying that you're seeing a wall cloud, if you get a picture of it, that's going to help me understand a lot what you're looking at. There's a lot of clouds that look like wall clouds that just aren't quite there. Now, I'm not going to name names. I won't name names, but this is why it's very, very important to verify information. when you are looking at information online, there was you have to be very, very careful. There was okay. Whoa, lots of pictures. All right, hang on. Okay. Um, so that is not a wall cloud. A wall cloud is going to be rotating. That looks like that's going to be more of kind of a gust front. So that's going to be wind, more of a wind situation. That is, I would say that's a rain-free base, but that's far from the kind of lowering that I would expect to see that would be identified as a wall cloud. Very similar shape and very similar structure, but that is not. I don't think I would call that a wall cloud, especially because it doesn't look like that's dipped low enough to be rotating. It doesn't look like it has the structure for that. Now, that probably has some gusty winds attached to it, or will at least, because that's kind of a stage of development there. But I would caution. I don't think that's quite a wall cloud. It might eventually try to be one, but at the moment, not thinking that's a wall cloud situation. But I had a page, and again, I'm not going to name names. It was another weather page, and so they posted on their page that there was a wall cloud in Cedar Hill. A wall cloud reported in Cedar Hill, and I was on the air. So I checked the radar, didn't see any rotation, anything like that, and it turned out that not only was the report of a wall cloud just from somebody, it wasn't anybody, it wasn't a trained spotter, wasn't a meteorologist, it was just somebody just kind of said that, I guess in a comment or something, and he threw it out there. Come to find out, he was reporting, I think he was updating the page from like a Chili's in Virginia or something. So that created a lot of drama that day. Because, it kind of threw everybody into a panic because they're thinking, oh, there's rotation in Cedar Hill. Well, turned out, really wasn't. It was really a shelf cloud on the leading edge of a storm that somebody thought was a wall cloud, and they put it out there as a post of, hey, this is happening. And what happens when there's unverified reports of something is people go to me, and I have to figure out what's going on. So that's why you have to be careful. There's going to be a lot of clouds that look just like something, but unless and Fleetmaster Michael on YouTube, the Weather Service offers storm chaser classes in person a couple times a year. So that'll be late winter, early fall. New severe thunderstorm warning just popped up. That's northern Johnson County, western Ellis County, southern Tarrant County, and a sliver of far eastern Parker County. So a nice big severe thunderstorm warning there. Hard to see part of that just north of Burleson. You're seeing that little disc there, that little empty space. That is where we are seeing that's the radar location. Because the radar doesn't look straight up, it's kind of harder to see exactly what's happening in that location. But that warning is for 65 mile per hour winds and 1-inch hail. So that is the new severe thunderstorm warning that we just had issued. That does include at least most of Midlothian, includes Venus, Alvarado, Joshua, parts of Godley, Burleson, Mansfield, Benbrook, all that area, Everman, Forest Hill, Kennedale, Rendon, So, southern Tarrant County. Brittany Wright, power's going off and on here in Happy Hill. I don't imagine it's a very happy hill right now if you can't keep your power, but That's understandable. So lots of pictures coming in from those clouds in Waxahachie. And yeah, I wouldn't quite call that a wall cloud at this point. That looks more... It's not as organized. If it is a wall cloud, it's very disorganized. But I would say that's probably going to be more... maybe more of a shelf cloud. So yeah, the pictures in Waxahachie, I think we're looking a little more shelf cloudish than a wall cloud. Wall cloud is generally going to be rotating. Let me grab one of these pictures. There was a really good one I saw just a second ago. There we go. That's going to be the best one to show the structure. So let's get this picture up here. So this is going to be from the Walmart parking lot here in Waxahachie. So when you're looking at that, it's definitely, it's not really lowering that much from the base of the cloud itself. And I think what we're seeing there, I don't think that this is necessarily a wall cloud. Now, this is just my opinion. Let's see, Beard on YouTube, would any of the new warning affect us in Waxahachie? No, it does not extend that far east, but this is the cloud we're looking at. That's what folks in Waxahachie are seeing, and that looks more kind of shelf cloudy to me. That doesn't look like it's rotating at this point, and a wall cloud generally is going to be rotating. So yeah, looks more of a shelf cloud at this point. Sometimes they can look similar, especially at this stage. It's a little more compact, so that can definitely look like a wall cloud, but I'm not seeing that level of organization here. Now, from a distance, it probably does look like that, but seeing the bottom, I don't know. I'm not seeing quite the level of organization that I would expect to see. Especially because, like I say, we're not seeing rotation. We're not really seeing rotation with that. So if you look at look at the radar here, the first thing is west of Burleson, probably looking at some gusty winds in that storm, probably in the Burleson area. Again, it's hard to see because the radar can't look straight up. Now, near Waxahachie, I'm just not seeing rotation. There's a storm there, but I'm not seeing rotation, which has me leaning away from, wall cloud. The idea of a wall cloud, at least. Whoops. Okay, so so Jamie, you're asking, are these popcorn pop-up clouds until storms until 10, or is this like when this group of storms moves through, it's done? So yeah, these are storms that are just kind of popping up. So this is, I'm not expecting one complex to go from A to B to C. That's not quite what I'm expecting here. This is going to be, we're going to continue to have these storms kind of popping up as these little triggers kind of hang out. So yeah. Not really a smooth timeline, unfortunately, to give with this activity. Is there a hail threat in Ennis? I mean, there's a storm north of Ennis that could bring some hail. We'll take a look at the hail cores here. I don't see any one area in our region, in our 4 counties here, that is too terribly concerning at this point. Oh, great view from Krista Almanza. Thank you so much. That's looking north of Ennis. Yeah, that's definitely a shelf cloud. That's a great view. Let me get this picture up because this is going to illustrate my point. Now that it's now that we've got a better view of it, let me get. Cooperate. Here we go. I know I keep going back and forth, folks, but just to kind of let you see, this is what we're looking at. This is north of Ennis, so this is kind of a farther view away. So that's definitely a shelf cloud to me, because you can see that the rain is right behind it. It's beside it, right behind it. And I mean, that would look like a wall cloud, but I don't see that rotating. And it's going to coincide with the leading edge of that storm. So, yeah, I'm calling that a shelf cloud, and that'll get wider probably as you go forward. And I mean, we're looking the way that it's going up, and you see that kind of green there. Yeah, what you're seeing there, that's going to be going into where you see that, and a lot of people, they talk about, hey, it's green. That bluish green kind of turquoise color, that almost marine green, whatever you want to call that, that's more of an indication of hail than anything. That's not necessarily a tornado indication, but that's what we're looking at, and that looks to me, the way that you have kind of this structure up at the top of that, this little lowering, that looks more like that's more what we would expect to see from a shelf cloud, kind of on the leading edge. So not concerned about rotation here. Not what I think we're looking at. Definitely when we look at velocity, that's not what I'm seeing. So not seeing any kind of rotation there. Not too terribly concerned. And I know folks are asking if that's a siren you're hearing at my house. Well, I'm sure my son thinks it's a siren. Uh, not quite, though. Man, I would love to be outside where I could see that. That's the only drawback to being in the studio, is I can't actually see that. I can't see it. Like I can't go out. I mean, if I hang on. Stuff in the way. Oh yeah. Okay. Woo. Okay. So number one, epic lightning out of that thing just now. Two, I can see it, and I'm definitely not. Jana Boggs, I do need an exterior camera, and we'll try to get, maybe at some point. Maybe that's a summer research and development project. Um, Elva, I saw your picture, or I saw your video. I'm not seeing rotation there. All right, so I mean, it's right over me as well. Yeah, I mean, it's right over my area too. And I mean, I'm looking at the underside of it, and I'm not seeing rotation. Let me. All right, folks, I'm gonna look at this. Let me go take a look at this. I will be right back here shortly. Just one moment here. All right, folks, I was able to go outside and look at that. So I'm getting a limited look, but I am not seeing rotation myself. That's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing some upward motion, so updrafts for sure, but I'm not seeing spinning. I'm not seeing rotation in those clouds. Certainly not anything organized. Now, there's going to be motion, but motion and rotation are not the same thing. They're really not. I mean, if you see a lot of motion happening, there's going to be some upward motion there. There's going to be some, there's going to be some scud clouds moving northward. But I'm not seeing organized rotation from this. So, yeah, I'm not seeing rotation in that storm near Waxahachie. I mean, it looks dang cool. It really does. But where I'm at, I mean, I'm looking directly at it here at the studio. But I mean, I'm not seeing. Good grief. Not seeing rotation from it. All right, so okay, if you want to send pictures. JL Barlow, I've seen all the pictures that have been sent, so I'm caught up. We're good. I mean, they all look roughly the same here, but now again, I mean, we're looking at clouds that are moving upward. That's normal here, but I'm not seeing rotation. Okay. Nathan Seward, trying to say there's a funnel cloud. Nathan, if you want to send me a picture, sure, but unless you know for sure, let's not make too many claims here. Now, this storm we need to turn our focus over to Johnson County. This warning has just been updated. We're getting reports now of ping pong sized hail near Crowley. So this storm, southern Tarrant County specifically, this has been updated to where now we are seeing this. You see this considerable label here for this. There are golf ball size hail possible with this storm. So southern Tarrant County, particularly near Kennedale, Forest Hill, Benbrook, Crowley area, that's where we're seeing possibly very dangerous hail here. Again, golf ball size hail. We have reports of ping pong sized hail, so hen egg sized hail 2 miles west of Edgecliff in Tarrant County. So this storm is turning into a much higher hail threat at this point. That's going to be south of Fort Worth. So again, this was near Crowley, near Everman, Forest Hill, Kennedale. That's going to be the area where we have very large hail possible from this particular storm. Robin, I've seen lots of pictures. We have to focus on, and the pictures all kind of look the same at this point. So I have seen that lowering near Waxahachie. No tornadoes out there. We're good to go. So yeah, this storm south of Fort Worth, considerable hail threat with this storm. Multiple reports coming in, really all at the same time here in the Fort Worth area. So I apologize for all of the noise. I'm trying to get caught up on messaging here. Yeah, so this where you probably got an updated message here for that warning. That is because it has been updated now to a considerable damage threat. So this is what you're seeing up here at the top. Says hail, golf ball size hail, winds. I don't know why they make it that color, but 65 mile per hour winds possible. Damage threat considerable. This is mostly for the hail size. So they have upgraded that severe thunderstorm warning to warn of the threat of very large hail. Considerable damage is possible with that storm. So this is southern Tarrant County at this point. Looks like the hail threat, the considerable hail threat, has moved out of northern Johnson County at this point. It's southern Tarrant County, where this is mostly going to be a concern. Now, the storms in Waxahachie. Let me tell you again. Those clouds look gnarly. They look crazy. They look scary. It is not rotation. I went out and looked at it myself. I was right under those clouds, not seeing rotation in Waxahachie. It's on the backside of that storm. It's got a nice structure to it, but I'm just not. I'm not seeing rotation from that storm. I've seen all the pictures and everything, and so good news in Waxahachie. Not seeing rotation in that storm at this point. I want to reiterate that I'm just not seeing rotation at this point in that storm. There's some gusty winds. There's going to be a lot of motion in that clouds, but again, clouds moving and rotating are not the same thing. Rotation is a pretty specific possible threat. I apologize again. Kiddo's being very, very loud right outside the window, or right outside the door there. So southern Fort Worth, you can see some gusty winds there as well. So this is going to be a windy storm. And then radar is having a hard time seeing the hail there, but it is definitely a considerable hail threat at this point. Pixel Dash 3D, if you want to tell me what I'm seeing is rotation, I don't see rotation. I'm sorry, but I have to agree to disagree with you on this one. But in southern Tarrant County, Fort Worth, that's where we had multiple reports. The largest I saw, I'm going back here, the largest report I saw was hen egg sized hail. So I mean that's approaching 2 inches of hail, 2-inch in diameter hail. So that's large, and that's why we got that update on that severe thunderstorm warning, showing the considerable threat of severe weather, of hail specifically. Really, that it's a considerable threat. Severe thunderstorm warning. That's a tag on there, but in this case, it's specifically looking at the. That's specifically talking about that hail threat. The winds are not looking quite there. I mean, if we were closing in on 70 miles per hour, that's a little more of a considerable threat. But I mean, we're closer to. I mean, this is reading probably up to 40. I would say 40 to 50 maybe. There might be some winds that the radar's not able to see because it's too close. Let's see. Not a whole lot going on in Corsicana. John on YouTube, yeah, take a short video with your phone in horizontal landscape. Make sure to point out and narrate what it is you see. That's the best thing to do. If you're able to send a video in, I mean, I can get a much better idea on that. But without a video, I mean, if it's just a picture, that's hard to. I can't see what that's doing. But if you send a video in, it's easier for me to get an idea of maybe what you're seeing as rotation. So again, there's going to be getting a video from. Let me see. So I got one video from Melissa. Hold on. The computer's like glitching. I'm getting so many messages so quickly. So a video from Melissa looks like it might be showing some rotation, but it's very rugged. It's almost like it's a very small spot and it's very rugged. It doesn't look like it's really part of a lowering necessarily. Okay, whoa, hold on. Lots of comments here. Give me one minute here. Let me catch up. hang on a second. Trying to take these storms one at a time here. Not much going on in Corsicana. Really nothing headed to Corsicana at this moment. So no really worries there. Cody, you said you're in a travel trailer in Midlothian near Kroger. Is this a Sikh shelter? Not really. Not in Midlothian at this point. Nothing major going that way. What direction is the storm to the west heading? So the severe storm is heading, really it's going to stay in the Metroplex, looks like. That's going to head east over into Dallas County. Ennis may get some small hail, but I'm not really looking at anything too concerning there. Tinsley Taylor, tornado threat is low at this point. There's some discussion about some possible rotation in the clouds near Waxahachie, but the video I'm seeing, it doesn't look like anything well organized. So I'm not too concerned at this point about what I'm seeing. I'm going to try to get another look. Give me 1 second, folks. Okay, I'm going to take another look at this. Looks like I can see something out the window, so give me 1 moment here. I will be right back. Okay, I saw what everybody's talking about. I was able to see it out of the window here. And for one, I'll say that's on the back side of the storm there. So I'm not terribly concerned about that little circulation up there. It's also not really part of a, it's just not organized. I'm just not seeing that to that point. Yeah, it's kind of on the back side of the storm there. But I went out and watched it for just a moment. And again, if you're seeing what looked like some rotation in the clouds. I mean, it's there. But it's fairly, I mean, it's not really, yeah, I'm not terribly concerned about that. It almost really looks like it's almost, too high in the storm. Um, New severe thunderstorm warning, that's going to be for that storm that is north of us. So let's turn our focus again to this storm to the north. This one, it still has, okay, this is increased even more. This is even more bumped up. We still have, man, why do they do this? Why do they make it that blue? That's hard to see. So here's the new severe thunderstorm warning. Northern parts of Ellis County, southern Dallas County, really kind of central and southern Dallas County. 65 mile per hour winds. That itself is not considered considerable, but lime-sized hail, 2-inch in diameter sized hail possible with this storm. So this is the one we're looking at. And north of Mansfield here, that's going to be, this is the storm we're watching, headed east. So that's going to be mostly southern Dallas County here. Now, so that's the storm that has an increased hail threat here. And if we go back, the largest hail size report that I see from that storm is hen egg size. That's about 2 inches. So that's what the National Weather Service is noting this for as possible. Now, I will say the storm near the Ennis area, that is where we see this probably an increasing hail risk with that one as well. Let me get this other monitor going. Increased winds moving towards the Arlington area as well. So, northern parts of Midlothian are included in that warning, but I'll tell you that I don't really expect Midlothian to get much of this storm. The vast majority of that's going to head north. The warning does include parts of Ellis County. I think that's just in case this storm takes a right call, or a right turn rather. Got a weather call in the mind. If it takes a right turn. So that's a possibility. But other than that. Now, you're going to see some people talking about something called weather call. Weather call is a service that my voice will call you if you are included in a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning, something of that nature. Otherwise, if it's not as intense, you'll just get a phone, or you'll just get a text or an email, like a warning or something like that, or a flood warning or a tornado watch, severe thunderstorm watch. That stuff you're going to get a text and an email. It's not as urgent, but if it's urgent, severe thunderstorm warning, tornado warning, that kind of stuff, you're going to get a phone call from my voice saying, "Hey, there's a warning in place." So that is the link that I just posted in the chat there to make sure that you are informed. Kathy Edwards Zielk, let's see, what's your location? Said you're getting larger hail now. Where's that location? If we look area wide here, just kind of broaden this out. Sarah Nunez, that man, I feel like we beat that horse to death. There was not a wall cloud. There was a shelf cloud that there were a lot of pictures of, but nothing rotating. So Hill County, a couple of storms there. Could be some increasing hail sizes north of Abbott and west. Just kind of in that area between there and Hillsboro. Not severe warned at this time. The storm near Ennis looks to be picking up steam, and that could be severe warned here fairly soon, as it's very possible that that hail threat is increasing as well. The strongest storm we have right now is in southeastern quadrant of Tarrant County, and then moving towards the Arlington area. Northern Mansfield, really mostly Arlington at this point. Nick, how is this Ennis storm not severe? Well, it clearly doesn't have winds of excess of 58 miles per hour and hail an inch in diameter or greater, or at least the National Weather Service doesn't have an indication of that at this point. So that's why that storm is not yet warned. Or they could be drawing it up right now and they just haven't gotten there yet. So it doesn't mean anybody missed anything, just means hadn't happened yet for one reason or another. Jessica, I think the storm in Mansfield is heading to Waxahachie. Doesn't look like it. I mean, you can see on the radar it's moving eastward, almost east-northeast at this point. So that's going to be more headed towards the Arlington area. Hearing reports of sirens going off in Mansfield and Arlington, that's going to be for the threat of very large hail. So these, you got to remember, these outdoor warning sirens are not just for tornadoes. Those sound for particularly dangerous severe thunderstorms as well. So you have to keep that in mind as we go forward, because when those sirens are going off, that means that that severe thunderstorm warning has been marked as a considerable damage threat. And that's what we're seeing there. Hail 2 inches in diameter, winds of 65 miles per hour. Now, 65 miles per hour is not considerable. That would take 70 miles per hour. This is mainly a hail threat. But that is what is prompting some of those sirens to go off in parts of Tarrant County and probably parts of Dallas County as well. No, Waxahachie's not in the clear yet. It's going to be, we have a severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock. So until that watch is marked out, I'm going to say we could still get more storms. So there's a momentary pause in Waxahachie, but I don't know how much longer that's going to last. Let me get this other monitor fixed up here. So not much in Navarro County at the moment. Now we do have storms moving into northern Navarro County at this point. Moving through Ennis right now. I'm going to be moving right into Rice and Alma. Looks like it's already there. Another piece of that storm. But that is moving southward into Navarro County at this point. So Navarro County hadn't seen much yet, but it is headed in your direction right now. And let me get that, people asking for weather call next gen. Let me get that posted one more time there so everybody has that link available to them. You know what? That wasn't posting to everybody. Here, let me, there we go. That should go everywhere. The storm near Whitney is not severe at this time. It is not, at least it's not severe warned. The only severe warned storm we have is the one in parts of Ellis, Tarrant, and Dallas counties. Just answering a message here. Okay. Trying to catch up to some messages here. In the Cedar Hill area, yeah, you want to head indoors if you're in the Cedar Hill area. It looks like the larger hail will probably move north of you, but I would stay indoors if you're in Cedar Hill, just in case, just to be on the safe side. For Alvarado, no storms in Alvarado right now. But you said you got a notification to stay in a good structured building, but it's super calm outside. So Nicole, you probably got a notice or a notification. You probably got a notification of a warning from a site that doesn't actually go by your location. Or an app or something like that. The best part about Weather Call is that it is by your address. So it's not going to give you that information for just some random part of your county. It's all the way, I mean, that warning doesn't even start until Lillian and then northward from there. So Weather Call is going to go by your address, not just somewhere in your county. Jessica, no possible tornado warning expected for Arlington. The reason you're hearing the sirens is that there is a threat of 2-inch in diameter hail. That's very large hail. So that's going to be why those sirens are sounding. There's not a tornado threat at this point for that area. So yes, this storm is headed to the east. Again, moving into the Arlington area right now, just really on the north side of Mansfield. Going broader than that, there are several other storms going on. There's the storm from Ennis. That reaches over into Henderson County here. Possible hail in that one. Could be some small hail headed to Whitney and West and Abbott as well. So the Ennis area, some hail is possible there, but the only severe warned storm at this time is going to be that storm that is in parts of Tarrant County headed over towards Dallas County. Bob Harper, yes. So you are in that. If you got the calls, the first for the severe weather warning and then the second for the extreme warning, then you are in that polygon. That means your address is within that severe thunderstorm warning polygon that you see up there, that yellow polygon. So here's that new severe thunderstorm warning. That's going to be northwest of our area. That's for a storm headed to Weatherford. Small hail in Alma for a minute or less. Yeah, again, that's going to be that smaller storm in the Ennis area. Zach Solis from YouTube. The storm doesn't look to be, it looks like it may be weakening, but not enough for me to tell you not to worry about it. So, again, if you're in Tarrant, let's see, southeastern Tarrant County, or really the southern half of Dallas County, where that storm is headed, stay indoors, avoid windows. You have a severe thunderstorm capable of very large hail headed your direction. Leah Martinez, the big dome cloud in Waxahachie that you were seeing probably in pictures at this point. It's probably moved south of there. But what you were seeing there was really the formation of a shelf cloud. That's going to continue to spread out and bring gusty winds, and I'm sure that's moved south of Waxahachie now, but that's what that was. So let me kind of broaden this out again so you can see what's going on. Okay. Gina, you're asking about winds. So Gina, that really depends on where you're talking about. Gina, where's your location? What area are you asking about? Gypsy, you're asking if it's going to hit Seagoville. I mean, it's possible. It's a little hard to tell exactly what Seagoville is going to get. Kind of depends on whether or not this storm maintains its severity. Looks like it may be trying to weaken, but we'll have to watch and see what that does. But that storm that looks like it could head to the Seagoville area is severe at this time, so we will have to monitor that. Gina, so you're south of Waxahachie. I mean, there's not a storm headed that direction. I mean, if you're in one of the severe storms, you could be looking at 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. But that particular area, you don't have a storm headed your way right now, so I'm not too terribly concerned about that at this point. Nick, if you want to send those to kevin@southmetroweather.com, that's going to be my email. That's going to be one way to send those to me, or you can send that to the Facebook page. Hey, there's a Weather Call Next Gen sign up. Greatly appreciate that. Helps me help you make sure that you are staying informed. Martha, thank you so much for the Cash App donation. Greatly appreciated there. Had a few minutes of tree bending wind about 10 minutes ago. North Waxahachie off Grove Creek. Yeah, Dina, I'm right in that area as well. So I know what you're talking about. That's Grove Creek, North Grove area. That's where I'm at. So here's what we have in this particular area. You can see the storm, the severe warned storm in our immediate area right now, headed into the Arlington area right now. Going to head on over towards western Dallas County. It's in eastern Tarrant County now. Moving into western Dallas County there. Could be headed towards downtown, to be honest with you. And Justin Hodges, doesn't look like Ennis has anything more than what it has right now. So that storm going to be moving out of that area fairly soon. And Amber Guthrie Walker, yes, I see everyone's message. I see everyone's messages and comments, which means I'm seeing a ton of them. So if you're worried that I haven't seen your comment or your message yet, I apologize, but there's a great number of them. There's over 1,100 people from all sources watching this right now. So be patient if I haven't seen your message yet. Golf ball size hail in Arlington near I-20. So that is going to be consistent with what we've seen. Amber, I replied to your comment with the link. Let me post the link again. But I sent a direct reply to you with the link for weather call. So that should be up there. Crystal, the storm headed into the Grand Prairie area. I'm not seeing rotation in that one. Amber, I'm not really sure how else to get that link to you. If you want to send a message to the page, I can get that directly to you. Let me try something else. Well, that didn't help. I'm trying to reply to your message, and Facebook is just making this as complicated as possible. Okay. All right, hopefully that works for you. So I wouldn't say Midlothian's in the clear yet. I mean, the storm mostly is north of you, but I mean, it's close enough that I would say still, stay indoors. Still stay safe from this storm. Christian, the egg size hail is going to be north of Cedar Hill, really northwest. At least from what we've seen, but it's headed towards Cedar Hill. So like I've been saying, in the Cedar Hill area, stay indoors, wait this storm out. Thank you to Wanda for your Cash App donation. Thank you, Evan, for the Venmo donation. Greatly appreciated there, guys. So as far I know, there's a lot of folks wondering when this is going to be over. The severe thunderstorm watch continues until 10 p.m. So I mean, until 10 o'clock, unless I see otherwise, but until 10 o'clock. So until 10 o'clock here, generally we have a threat of severe weather. So that's kind of my rule of thumb here tonight. None of our area is in the clear here. There are parts of our area that don't have any storms right now, but until we shake off that severe thunderstorm watch, I'm not putting anybody in the clear. Aaron, you're asking, will the storm in Weatherford hit Carrollton later on? It's hard to say. I mean, that storm is a good ways away from Carrollton, so it's going to have to get a little closer before I know exactly what it's going to do. And thank you, Nick, for the email with the pictures. Those are great pictures. Yeah, that's what we were seeing in Waxahachie. And very nice shelf cloud. It's interesting. That shelf cloud was almost kind of compact. And so I think that's what kind of made it. A lot of people think it was more of a wall cloud, but it's definitely a shelf cloud. It's just it's smaller, and so it's easier to get that kind of. I mean, it looks like a wall cloud to the untrained eye, and I mean, even for some trained people, they're going, I don't know about that, but yeah, that's definitely a shelf cloud. Yeah, thank you, Nick. Love the pictures. Appreciate it. All right, so right now, again, severe thunderstorm watch continues until 10 o'clock. We have the storm moving through parts of eastern Tarrant County right now, moving into western Dallas County. That storm is a considerable threat, severe thunderstorm warning, an extreme warning as we call it, where we could be looking at 2-inch hail or lime-sized hail. There's another pretty good storm north of Corsicana right now. Would not surprise if a warning may be issued for that fairly soon. This one near Rice, very intense storm there, lots of lightning with that one. Heavy rain and probably some smaller hail with that as well. And then over into Hill County, so near West, really Hill and McLennan counties there. So near Golston and West, some heavy rain there. Heavier storm moving into Whitney. In Johnson County, not much going on. It's a little calmer there, but that's what we are looking at as far as this area. Okay, so Lucy, the difference between a wall cloud and a shelf cloud. A shelf cloud is just moving in one direction. A wall cloud is going to be, they're both lowering, so they both lower out of the storm. A wall cloud rotates. Shelf cloud is just going to be that driving cloud that's on the front of the storm that brings all the wind. So it's really the difference between straight line winds and rotating winds. It's the clouds that accompany them. So that's the biggest difference. Tammy, new to White Settlement, and this channel are the yellow block storm warning areas. So yes, those are severe thunderstorm warnings. Serena, not seeing any rotation right now. Okay. All right, so we'll look at, I know this storm in Navarro County is making a lot of noise. So the storm is near Rice. Really, it's kind of almost a combination of storms here. This little cluster, it is going to continue to move southward towards the Corsicana area. This storm is not severe at this point. We'll look at the velocity. There's going to be some gusty winds right in the center near Rice. And then as we look at the vertically integrated liquid here, there's probably at least some small hail. I would say dime to maybe nickel-sized hail just near Rice. That's going to be headed south-southeast. And so that may have a warning associated with it in the next several minutes, but it's not warned at this time. So a strong storm is headed to the Corsicana area, but it is not severe at this moment. Christian Dior, you've been asking a lot about Cedar Hill. I don't have anything new to tell you. It's the same situation where this storm is headed towards the Cedar Hill area. Moving east that direction, looks like the heaviest part of that storm is north of you, but you will still want to stay indoors. I mean, I can zoom in, but again, it's going to be the same story. It looks like there's a little hole there, but that is a severe warned storm, and it looks like the strongest winds are going to be north of you. Move more towards Duncanville, Cockrell Hill, Grand Prairie area, but you still want to stay indoors with that storm, and that should pass here in the next several minutes. The hail threat is going to be closer to the Arlington, Grand Prairie area. And Aaron Huff Midlothian just hopped on. I mean, when you hop on, give us a few minutes because we're probably answering your question, but like I say, that storm mostly north of Midlothian. So you're included in that warning in the Midlothian area, but just be patient there. That storm will pass by you, and the heaviest part of that storm is north of the Midlothian area right now. Probably going to stay that way as well. Landon McKinney was just driving slightly west of Gunbarrel City and seen a spin up. Doubt you saw a tornado out there. Not really seeing any kind of rotation there. So lots of questions about specific areas. So let me try to do an overview again, and I'm going to keep the kind of the broad look up. And I mean, you got to know where you're at on a map, because that's the only way that I can effectively kind of show you where things are happening. This is what we have going on. A severe thunderstorm warning is including parts of Ellis, Tarrant, Dallas, and Johnson counties right now. The severe part of that storm is going to be near Arlington and Grand Prairie right now. Strong winds approaching Grand Prairie, Cockrell Hill, Duncanville right now, just north of Cedar Hill. The warning does include parts of Midlothian, Red Oak, and Ferris. At this time, it looks like the storms will stay north, or at least the most intense part of that storm will stay north of that area. We also have a strong storm in northern Navarro County right now. Northern Navarro County, as well as eastern portions, western portions rather, of Henderson County there. Those are not severe warned at this time. There's also the storms near West and Abbott and Whitney. Those are heavy storms, but not severe warned at this time. The severe warning that includes parts of Dallas, Ellis, Johnson, and Tarrant counties right now, that is a considerable threat storm. The winds of probably 60 to 70 miles per hour, but the real threat there is the hail. We've had a history of as large as 2 inches. In fact, just a few minutes ago, really just a couple of minutes ago, a report of hen egg size, well, let's see. Okay, yeah, hen egg size hail, so 2-inch hail near Dalworthington Gardens, and then 3 miles southeast of Arlington, $50 size hail. So there's some variation there, but very large hail in that storm that is headed into the Arlington Grand Prairie area right now that looks like it could be headed towards downtown Dallas and Love Field here in the next several minutes. And man, I'm going to have to grab a phone charger here in a second. Yeah, this phone is this phone is really struggling. Okay, yeah, so no difference in, so if anything, that warning for the storm in the Arlington Grand Prairie area, they have lowered that severe or that hail threat slightly, just slightly there. They are looking at 1 3/4 inch hail, so basically golf ball size. So it looks like the hail threat may be subsiding ever so slightly in what is going to be soon western Dallas County. Okay, so yeah, hold on, everybody, hold on a second. I know everybody's got questions about that storm. Let me grab a phone charger, and then we'll kind of rewind and go right from the beginning on that one. Got to get this phone plugged in before that dies. Okay, so the storm here in Dallas County. Let me just do a big overview of this one. I know there's a lot of questions. The sirens that are going off are because this storm is considered a considerable damage threat. That is because we are looking at hail of, at this point, 1 3/4 inches in size, so that's going to be golf ball sized hail. Winds up to 60, 65 miles per hour. So anytime you get above kind of your generic severe thunderstorm warning, when we get up to a golf ball, hen egg, lime-sized hail as we've been seeing in this area, that is where you get into the considerable damage threat, and they will sound the sirens for that. The hail core for that's going to be right in the Grand Prairie area. We'll take a look at this, and that's going to be right in the Grand Prairie area. Let's actually, since we're talking about the metro area here, let me see. Is that going to give us the roads here? Yes. All right, so here's where that hail threat is. And I know the towns are much smaller, but here's 161. I can't... Let me adjust this, if you'll give me just a moment. Let me adjust this to where you can see the cursor. All right, so we have 161 here. So this is going to be at I-20 and 161, as well as right there at Keast Boulevard. So that's going to be where we have the large hail here, moving right into Lakeview, southern Grand Prairie. So that's where we have the greater threat of very large hail. Now, hearing sirens in Venus, I'm not sure why that would be. Just a moment. Okay, conferring with somebody here on some details. So that's where we have that hail threat, that very large hail threat, just south of really, again, I-20. You can see here, I-20 and 161. Also 1382 there. That's going to be by the Prairie Lakes Golf Course. East towards Redbird Addition there. Patriot Parkway. All that area. That's where we're looking at this hail threat, okay? So it's just riding right down I-20 here. Going right into Dallas County, headed right for Dallas Executive Airport, heading right for the VA Medical Center there in Dallas. So this is going to be just south of downtown, right along I-20, right along Ledbetter there. So those are the areas that we're looking at for this storm. So near the Duncanville area, on just south of Lakeview, really including Lakeview, and points south. No, we're not looking at much of a tornado threat here. If you're hearing those sirens, again, those are not for a tornado threat in this area. We are looking at a large hail threat. That's primarily what we're worried about here. This is going to be primarily a large hail situation. We've heard reports of up to 2 inches of hail, and that's going to be egg size. That's about egg or lime size. So if you can imagine hail that size, that's what we're dealing with. Now, for the rest of our area here, looks like the hail threat may be subsiding just north of Corsicana and just outside of Whitney, just west of Whitney, right there along the border with Bosque County. That's where we're looking at some hail possible as well. Obviously, there's the storm near Mineral Wells, another west of Weatherford. So there are a few hail producers out there, but those outdoor warning sirens that are going off in the Dallas area right now, those are going off for that hail threat. Again, we'll go over that one more time. That hail threat is in, well, we got the winds too, so let me just show you this briefly. The stronger winds in this storm stretching from Cedar Hill up to Grand Prairie, going right along with that storm. So you can see it's right there near Redbird Addition, going to be heading towards Duncanville, towards the Executive Airport, on towards where 67 and 35 come together, right towards Cockrell Hill. So those are the stronger winds. And then that hail threat that we've been talking about, and granted, this hail, I keep having to remind myself that this hail threat, this map is a little out of date. So the hail's going to be closer to Dallas Executive Airport right now, and the Duncanville area, going to be headed towards the VA hospital, right along I-20 there, probably just north of I-20, eventually heading towards Hutchins and possibly towards Mesquite. So we're going to change this map up again a little bit just to make the cities bigger, because I know that on that map the cities are teeny tiny. So that storm heading into Dallas County here. So that's going to be the south side of Dallas getting the large hail threat from that storm. And yes, so you see the black on the radar just outside of Weatherford there. That is very large hail. That storm is also a considerable, that's going to be a 2-inch hail threat as well. So really both of these storms in Parker County as well as Dallas County are large hail producers. This storm in Navarro County here, that's going to be a hail threat as well. If we look at velocity here, there's some winds in that storm, not a terrible wind threat at this point. But it's primarily going to be that hail threat. Right now, it doesn't look terrible, between Corsicana and Powell and Rice there, that doesn't look awful as far as hail, so doesn't look too terribly bad. Jill, nothing headed towards Ennis right now. Maybe a thunderstorm, but not anything major headed to Ennis at this point. We look at the Hill County, McLennan County area right now, just south of Whitney. There's one storm. North of Lacey Lakeview, just outside of Gulson, there's another thunderstorm there as well. Not severe at this time. The only severe thunderstorm warnings we have in North Texas are the one from Palo Pinto County over into Parker County right now. That's mostly going to be towards Mineral Wells and Weatherford. We have the severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Dallas County. That's going to be southern Dallas. That's looking at a large hail threat. There's going to be the storm in Navarro County, not severe warned at this time, but could have some smaller hail with it. And then a couple of storms in McLennan and Hill counties, also not severe at this time. The sirens in Dallas County that you are hearing, could be hearing some of those in Parker County as well. Those are outdoor warning sirens that are sounding for the threat of very large hail in those storms as they continue on. No sirens in Midlothian right now. The sirens are in Dallas County. And again, they're not tornado sirens. They are outdoor warning sirens that sound for large hail, damaging winds, those kind of things. So, particularly large hail. That's going to be the primary threat there. Give me 1 second here, folks. Okay, putting a message in the chat there for the sirens as well. I know there's a lot of hysteria that goes around about those every year, and part of the problem is that the municipalities do a terrible job of informing the public about those. They're no longer tornado sirens. That's not what they're primarily used for. They are used for tornadoes, but in addition to that, very large hail, very strong winds. So it's right now, it's mostly a hail situation with these storms. Aurora, I don't have a current size of the hail. I'm not seeing very recent hail reports out of Dallas County. Looks like quarter-sized hail 3 miles northeast of Arlington. That's the most recent that I have. So looks like we may be getting off of, so the hail size threat is going down on this storm. Now it's rated for $half size hail. That's down from, we were at lime size hail earlier. That went down to golf ball size. Now we're down to $half size hail. So that warning has actually been dropped below that considerable threat area. So that's the good news there. So Ryan Snowden, 287 and 360 intersection, there are sirens intermittently. So I'm not sure what Midlothian sirens would be sounding for. And not sure what they'd be going off in. Now, Mansfield, earlier, if you were in this warning earlier, not currently right now, but that warning was upgraded earlier this evening. So you might have heard sirens earlier this evening, but if they're happening right now in Midlothian and Mansfield, not too sure what that is, because that storm, you're no longer in that warning, and that storm has passed. Samia looks like we'll zoom into Dallas again, and the Oak Cliff area. I mean, you could get some of that hail, so be prepared for that. In that particular area, Cockrell Hill as well as Executive Airport there in Duncanville. And then Hillsboro, not much going on in Hillsboro at the moment, so it's not too much to be expected. Stephen Johnson asking about when does rain end in Waxahachie and Palmer? Well, I mean, there's not a whole lot going on at the moment, just some light rain in Waxahachie. But the severe thunderstorm watch goes until 10 o'clock, so I wouldn't call anything completely gone until that time. Thank you, Cindy, for your Venmo donation, and thank you to Mike for your your PayPal donation. Greatly appreciated there. Peggy, no, Ellis County is not included in that warning right now. Not really much headed to Red Oak, Marcy. If you watch we'll put this back into motion here. The strongest part of that storm is moving into southern Dallas at this time. And that storm has weakened quite a bit. So not really expecting much in the Red Oak area. Trying to get caught up on some I got to tell you, let's see. Anticipate the storm currently in Weatherford headed south. Does not look like the storm in Weatherford will head to our area right now. I'm not expecting that. Looks like it's headed east-northeast at this point. So that's going to be more of a Metroplex storm. So the good news is that there are no severe thunderstorm warnings in our area right now. Really, the strongest storm in our particular area is going to be this storm in Navarro County. Not seeing a severe weather one. Zach Solis, could that Weatherford storm track behind the other? It could. That would be more of a Dallas area. Yes, Patty, I'm familiar with where Executive Airport is. Because I worked on World War II aircraft up there with the community, with the commemorative Air Force. Very familiar with where Executive Airport's located. Yeah, so these storms in Navarro County, they're not. It doesn't look like they're really weakening at this point. I would say they're probably maintaining strength. Looks like it's weakened a little bit since it's moved into the county, but just the last couple of frames or so. They're kind of maintaining strength. The main thing with this is going to be there's probably some small hail with that. Again, it's mostly going to be west of Kearns, east of Corsicana. That's where the heaviest part of this storm is headed. Lots of lightning and thunder with this one, but that's going to continue to move southward towards the Mildred, Eureka, Richland Chambers Lake area, right through Powell right now. So again, that's where we're seeing the heaviest part of that storm. Looking at the velocity, there's some winds there, some gusty winds moving through Powell and Mildred right now, but this is not a severe storm at this time, just a very loud, very heavy thunderstorm at this point. Katie asking, is the storm in Weatherford headed towards Arlington? It's too early to tell. It's a good distance away. It could stay north of Arlington, but again, it's too far away to tell. Nothing headed to Red Oak. And Waxahachie, I know a lot of folks want this to be done now, but I am cautious to say that anybody is in the clear at this point. We could have more storms that pop up. The closer we get to sunset, I would say it's less likely. But again, I'm not calling anything quits until A, I see that no other storms are developing, or B, the severe thunderstorm watch ends. I'm curious, are the networks covering this? Doesn't look like it. Let's see. Doesn't look like the Dallas networks are on the air right now. I was just curious. All right, so somebody asked about Scurry. That's going to be there in south. I mean, not really looking at a hail threat right now for Scurry. Looks like everything's going to be north of that area. Andrew, I don't usually cover the Metroplex, though at this point I guess I will, uh, because I guess nobody else is. So that's kind of my niche, is I just kind of do what they're not, I guess. But that storm moving into Dallas right now, we'll give you an update on that. And the severe thunderstorm warning, including parts of Dallas, from Dallas down to the Ellis County, Dallas County line, we're not seeing nearly the threat we saw earlier. I'm sure there's still a hail core with this, but it is not nearly as intense as what it was. And so this storm that's it's in the Duncanville area, headed to Executive Airport, towards the Cockrell Hill area, South Dallas, that kind of thing. That's where we're seeing that storm headed right now. So not terribly concerned about that one right now. We could still see some $1/4 to $1/2 size hail with that storm as it passes through southern parts of Dallas County. But at this point, we're not really seeing much of a hail threat, not like we were before, at least, on that particular storm. Pretty sizable storm there in Weatherford. That's still going to be a considerable threat storm. Hail 2 inches in diameter. That's what's indicated there with that storm. We look at the velocity. Probably some gusty winds there as well, headed towards Weatherford. But that particular storm, we look at the hail core, and that is a very impressive hail core right over Millsap, headed right towards Weatherford. So that's going to be headed directly into the Weatherford area now, and then that will continue on. That severe thunderstorm warning continues for about another 24 minutes. That will wrap up at 9 p.m. Looking in Navarro County again, this is a loud storm right now, headed right towards Mildred here. The hail core there towards Mildred, towards Eureka, going to be heading towards Richland Chambers Reservoir there. So keep that in mind, that this storm is not severe warned at this point, but there is a pretty decent hail core along with that storm. Okay, so CBS 11 is on the air. Hate to lose Scott Padgett up there. Very good guy. Let's just kind of widen this out, put this back into motion for you. Yeah, that storm in Dallas is not near as intense as it was. My Lord, that thing was high and mighty. And we, of course, had reports earlier of those clouds in Waxahachie. The good news is that it was not anything really to be worried about. It was noticeable, to say the least, but it was nothing too terribly concerning. Not anything we had to be too worried about. Abigail, too early to know exactly what parts of Dallas County it's going to impact. It doesn't look like it, though. It looks like it'll probably stay north of most of Dallas County. Liam, the hail core making a hook. Good news is I don't think we have to be worried about rotation in that situation, so not too terribly concerned about that. Okay, so the severe thunderstorm warning for Dallas County has expired. National Weather Service reporting that, so sounds like that goes away. So now they have noted that as no longer severe. So that relieves those of you in Dallas County from that severe thunderstorm warning, but that does not mean that storm is not still intense. I think we could still see some fairly decent hail coming out of that storm. So still pay attention to that storm in Dallas County, but the National Weather Service has allowed that to expire here. So, Andrew, that storm, I believe that storm in Parker County was generated largely or motivated largely by a northbound outflow boundary. You see that? Let's see. You see that up there? So I think that helped that storm move a little bit east, kind of northeast, as opposed to the southeasterly motion. The other part of that too is it may depend on what side of the stationary front it's on. If it's on the north side of the stationary front, I'm not certain right now. Let me see if I can get a better idea. Yeah, so let's see. Let me try to get a better idea here of. Man, it's hard to see. So I'm kind of looking at the positioning of the stationary front. That could also impact the direction that it's moving, but I don't. It's hard for me to get a close look at that. Let's see what's the latest observation. Let me see if I can just pull it up easily here. So it looks like maybe this is moving more kind of along the stationary front, and then maybe this is north of the stationary front, so it's getting pushed that other way. But I think part of it, I think a lot of it is that outflow boundary that was moving northward, I think that kind of influenced its movement a little bit. Thank you, Connor, for the Venmo donation. Greatly appreciated there. Oh, didn't want to do that. So the severe thunderstorm warning for the storm heading into Weatherford right now, still looking at 2-inch hail expected with that storm. So that's going to be the most dangerous storm in North Texas right now. The Dallas County storm is no longer severe warned per the National Weather Service. The storm in Navarro County, not severe warned at this point, but that is a loud, loud, loud storm as that moves into the Mildred and Eureka and Angus area, moving into Richland Chambers as well. That will eventually keep moving southeastward into Freestone County, like Freestone County hadn't already had enough today with the storm you got earlier. So unfortunately, you have another round headed for the Fairfield area. The storm in parts of Hill, Bosque, and McLennan counties here, this little cluster, again, not severe, but we are looking at the possibility of those intensifying at any point. Liam asking, there's going to be more rain at 9 o'clock. Well, I mean, if another storm develops and heads to Waxahachie, it's possible. At this moment, it looks like maybe we're limiting that new development. And the sun is going down, so I think that may be part of it. We're going to lose that daytime heating. I think that'll help us to kind of knock out some of what we're looking at in terms of the new storms, the new rain, that kind of thing. But it's hard to say. If you're looking at a future radar or that kind of thing, models are really, really terrible with stuff like this because it all depends on where it pops up, where it happens. So if you're in a situation where you're looking at these storms, trying to say, hey, I think this is going to happen here or there or everywhere, in this kind of a situation with this setup, hard to say. Trying to keep up with different messages coming in. Gmoss saying that Arlington had ping pong sized hail. Yeah, that sounds about right. Already hearing the thunder in Fairfield. Liam, I think so. You're asking about the storm coming from Weatherford. I think that's going to stay north of Waxahachie. Let's see. Matt just watched a 20-degree temperature difference coming into Mineral Wells. Yeah, I'm sure behind that storm you're gonna have a lot of rain-cooled air. So I'm not surprised at all by that. Hey Taylor, hadn't heard from you, but that storm. I mean, heading into really, it's moving out of Currens. So it's the heaviest part of that storm is south of Curran. So behind that, not really seeing much. You could still have a few thunderstorms, but I'm not seeing anything severe. In fact, the storm that just moved through Currens is not severe at this time. It's not severe warned, so I'm not too terribly concerned about that. But it is a loud storm. It's a heavy storm, possibly at least some small hail with that one as it moves through Mildred, Angus, and Eureka, headed towards Richland and the lake, but not severe at this time. And Justin Morris, you're asking about the Weatherford storm. I know there's a lot of focus on that one. That's probably the most exciting out there. Not seeing a weakening trend on that one yet. That storm's still running fairly intensely in Weatherford as it's getting ready to move north of that warning. They're going to have to issue another one of those into parts of northern Parker County and probably including parts of Tarrant and Denton counties as well. So Liam, you're looking at a hook on the Weatherford storm. That's not a rotating hook though, not from what I can see. I mean, we'll look at it, but yeah, I mean, the wind, I'm not seeing any kind of rotation on that Weatherford storm, so I'm not terribly concerned about that. There's going to be some gusty winds with that one for sure, but not seeing any rotation on that Weatherford storm. Lots of reports of very large hail in Arlington as well when that storm moved through, and boy, that thing was very, very intense. But the good news is that that storm in southern Dallas has weakened quite a bit from where it was earlier this evening. The strongest storm right now is going to be the storm in Navarro County. I mean, you look at this thing and south of Corsicana, south of Currens now, but moving through Eureka, Madrid, Richland, that area, also through the Richland Chambers Lake. So that storm, fairly intense, but not severe warned at this time. Not much headed to Burleson right now. Gma, you received your weather call alert and text message in plenty of time to protect the vehicles and plants. Great service. Great to hear from you. Dylan asking about Currens. Not much headed to Currens after this storm. Could be some scattered storms here, but I mean, unless I see something new develop, you may be done for the night. I'm cautious to say that. We have a severe thunderstorm watch that continues until 10 o'clock. But for right now, not much more happening in the Currens area. You're kind of on the backside of this. So, there's nothing imminently headed towards Currens right now. So we'll continue to watch this storm in southern Navarro County. I think that we're probably looking at that being the most intense storm at this point. Kayla, the kids want to go swimming. Is it safe in Hatchie? Well, I mean, I'll tell you that lightning can strike 30 miles outside of a storm. So if you're able to hear thunder, you're too close. The closest storm right now in that area that I'm seeing that's producing lightning is in southern Dallas. I'm not terribly worried about that one, but I'm not going to tell you what to do or not do, but that's the information that I have that I can share with you. Andrew and Amy Mashburn, thank you so much for the kind words. I would love to say that we are done with the excitement for a while, but we're only getting started because we have more storms possible late Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, possibly even Friday, and then into next weekend. I mean, it's going to be a really eventful week here in the studio. So You were starting on Sunday. We're going to roll right through the rest of the week here with more storms to come. So just be prepared for that. We got more action coming our way over the next several days. Hearing there was small hail near M House, so it sounds like the hail is not terribly impressive at this point, at least in the M House area. Let's see. Light show is very active in this approaching storm. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of lightning in that storm in Navarro County. And decent hail core there south of Corsicana. So just kind of keep that in mind there. That is, we could be looking at a fairly decent hail situation south of Corsicana, right near Mildred there, heading on southward towards Freestone County. Somebody asked about the Weatherford storm. It's still quite the storm there in Parker County. So not much positive to say about that storm at this point. Golf ball size hail reported in the Weatherford area. That was about 10 minutes ago. So looks like mostly golf ball size hail in that storm reported in the Weatherford area. Yeah, let's see. Condre, yeah, clearing up in Corsicana. So yeah, that's where that storm was, but it is headed southward at this point. So that's going to be a positive there. That storm continues to move southward. Will be moving towards the Wortham area and Richland, Curvin, and Fairfield here in the next several minutes. So that will be headed into Freestone County. Pixel Dash, not much happening in Waxahachie. You can see on the radar there's really nothing headed that way. So Waxahachie has no storms at this point. Jeremiah, it looks to me like that storm is probably going to stay north of Burleson. I'll keep an eye on it, but I really do think that's going to stay, at least the strongest part of that storm is going to stay north of the Burleson area. Eggman, is Iowa going to get any smog from the... Well, I don't really cover Iowa. But I will tell you that probably so. I mean, you're further north, so I would imagine Iowa will probably get some of the cloudy, some of the smoky skies from those Canadian fires. Let's see. Someone in Annetta, what I'll tell you about Annetta. So looking at this Weatherford storm, Annetta is going to be. Let's see if I can get it to come up there. There it is. So Annetta. I mean, you may get some hail from that, but I will tell you the greatest hail threat is going to be northwest rather. So that's headed right into Weatherford right now. So that's where the greatest hail threat is right now. Looks like it's going to stay northwest of that area. Looking to see what I can get from some cameras in the Weatherford area. Give me just a moment here, folks. Okay. Yeah, not seeing a lot of hail on the TxDOT cameras there in Weatherford, but it's going to be hard for those to pick that up. But I will tell you that new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued, and that's going to take it all the way from Weatherford over to White Settlement and Benbrook, so western Fort Worth area, western Tarrant County. That's where we are looking at all of that. Now, Araceli, do you think Hill County could see the northern lights? I mean, I'm skeptical of North Texas seeing the northern lights at all. But yeah, if we keep the clouds around, I mean, obviously that's going to make it tougher. But I'm skeptical of North, really any of North or especially Central Texas getting any kind of view of the northern lights. Some are saying maybe with your phone, kind of like last time, but I don't know. I'm still skeptical on that. I might see if I can get out there later tonight and just see what I can see, but I'm skeptical. Will Red Oak get what just passed through Cedar Hill? Not. I mean, the northern part of it maybe. It looks like some of that's trying to move southeasterly. Now that storm is weakened, it's getting caught up in that northwest to southeast flow. So looks like that is headed towards the Ferris area here, but there's not much to it. That storm has weakened considerably. There may still be some small hail with that, but that storm has weakened quite a lot, so not really expecting much. Thank you, Don, for the Venmo donation. Greatly appreciated there. Always appreciated. Never expected, but always appreciated is what I like to say there. The Weatherford storm moving east, northeast at this point. So right through Weatherford right now. That's the Weatherford storm. So moving east, northeast. But that thing is, that is a mean storm. There's no two ways about that. And I would say that's probably headed right towards the Fort Worth area. If I had to guess, the hail threat is probably going to move more towards Lake Worth, the Fort Worth Airport there, Haltom City, Watauga, Saginaw, that area, if it keeps that current track. The storm in Navarro County, this thing is continuing to move southward, so moving out of Angus and Mildred now. Still pretty heavy in Eureka, still pretty heavy at the lake. Moving right into Richland here, and I think you're probably looking at some gusty winds picking up with that storm as well. So fairly heavy there in southern Navarro County, northern Freestone County here, and that will continue on through there. Now, what I will tell you, okay, all right, so yeah, that update, I was just about to do that, but yeah, Christian Dior, what you're seeing from WFAA, yeah, they're looking at, this is a whole new ball game now. Nope, pun intended there. Wow, that was awful. Baseball-sized hail possible from this storm in Weatherford. Let me check this here. Are they going off of a report here? Okay, so 3-inch hail reported 5 miles west of Weatherford, and that was about 8 minutes ago. So, yeah, I mean, they're talking about half teacup size, so 3-inch hail. And that's going to be, they're looking at, yeah, so about baseball-sized hail. So that's going to be moving right into the Fort Worth area here. So that's what we're looking at. This storm right over Weatherford right now. Baseball-sized hail possible. You will likely hear sirens sound for this storm. This is an incredible storm. This is an incredible threat of hail. Looks like this is going to be moving a little more due east here. It's kind of taking a little bit of a right turn from where it was headed. Steve, he's feeling great enough. He's running laps up and down the hall, so he sounds like he's doing great. Aaron, I don't see anything slowing this storm down, so I'm a little bit concerned about Fort Worth right now because this storm, as it continues to move eastward right into, it's right over Weatherford right now. It's going to continue to move eastward right into the Fort Worth area. So if you are in Weatherford, Willow Park, and White Settlement, Lake Worth, Eagle Mountain, even Saginaw, Fort Worth, Haltom City, all of this area, you have to be taking shelter away from windows right now. This is not a situation where we're expecting a tornado to hit that area, but this very large hail is very, very dangerous. I imagine the networks are paying attention now. They've probably all woken up, shot down some coffee, and they are rocking and rolling because this is an incredible storm here. Baseball-sized hail possible. Christy, I see you're asking about Benbrook. A few people are. And it looks like the large hail threat will probably stay north of Benbrook, but we'll continue to monitor that. It's still a little bit of a ways away, so we'll have to watch that. What I'll tell you to do here is if you will tag people, share this stream, get people tagged if they're in the threat, in the range of this storm, headed through Weatherford right now, headed towards Willow Park, towards White Settlement, Lake Worth, that area. I mean, you know, Aledo and Benbrook looks like you may stay south of the heaviest part of this storm, but it's going to continue to move to the east, and this is a nasty, nasty storm. We continue to monitor this, but yeah, I'm telling you, start tagging people that might be in the range of this storm. This is a very, very dangerous situation. All right, so here's where we are with this particular storm. Indoor Baseball League, tuning in from Willow Park, Aledo area. Thanks for being live when Max Velocity and Ryan Hall are they not covering this right now? Are they not covering this storm? That's going to be wild. Let's see. Any news on the lightning strike at Benbrook Lake? I haven't personally heard anything on that, so I'm not sure. Give me the information on that. I've not heard about that lightning strike at this point. Yeah, it looks like Max Velocity and Ryan Hall aren't covering this. I'm sure they probably will be soon. I don't imagine they're going to miss this. But this storm headed over towards White Settlement, towards the Fort Worth area right now. We have to make sure. I know this is not normally what I would cover, but I mean, it's hard for me to ignore this particular storm. This is going to be headed directly towards Willow Park, White Settlement, the Fort Worth area here. Eventually possibly towards Arlington and Grand Prairie and Dallas. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this storm and see what this does as this moves eastward towards the Fort Worth area. As you can see here, this is hail, baseball-sized hail possible. This is going to be a hail threat. The winds don't look too intimidating to me at this point. Kimla, yes, we are live on YouTube. Let me just show you this storm in Weatherford. This is this is the hail core we're looking at. Very intense hail core. And the National Weather Service right now reporting ping pong sized hail was reported near Weatherford. Several reports of ping pong sized hail. And then quarter sized hail, quarter to, so Weatherford amateur radio reporting quarter to golf ball sized hail covering the ground. And just kind of the info on that. When you're covering a storm like this, the largest hailstone you find is what you report. You essentially report the worst case scenario with these storms. So, Nicole, no, this looks to stay north of Waxahachie. I don't expect this to impact Dulles County, not unless it takes a very dramatic right turn, which doesn't look likely at this point. But that's why we have to continue to watch this one. just to kind of broaden this out and make sure we're covering the rest of our area here, this very prolific storm south of Corsicana continues for southern parts of Navarro County, northern Freestone County here. Let's see here. I'm getting some information. Give me one moment. All right, so so the storm in southern Navarro County, since that's our core area, we'll jump on that real quickly. Look at the velocity. We have some gusty winds with that one, about to move into northern Freestone County. As if we continue to, if we look at the hail here, again, the hail doesn't look terribly impressive at this moment, but I think there's at least going to be some small hail moving into parts of Freestone County. Well, there we go. There's an upscale a little bit. So this storm may be intensifying as it's moving into northern parts of Freestone County. But we have to make sure we're paying attention to really the show of the night, which is going to be this storm moving out of Weatherford. This is going to be moving right towards Willow Park and eventually towards Lake Worth, White Settlement. Aledo and Benbrook, you will want to pay attention to this really anywhere within this warning. This is a warning of baseball-sized hail. This particular storm headed directly towards Fort Worth here. So if you're in Fort Worth, you will want to pay more attention to this at this time. Somebody saying the spelling bee is much more important than a dangerous storm to WFAA. Well, here's the thing. Here's two things I'll say about that. One, they're probably trying to wait as long as they can before the storm gets into the Metroplex because they have an entire corporate, they have an entire network above their heads. So, I mean, I'm sure if Pete Delkus and his guys could choose, they'd be live right now. But, I mean, when you've got something that major going on, you would really love to, I mean, the network's going to make you keep your programming going, right? I mean, it's just, that's just the way it is. Shalina says they're only covering during commercials, so they're keeping you updated. But I'm sure once it gets into the Metroplex, that's when they'll say, okay, if anything, they may see this as moving into Tarrant County after 8 o'clock. So if we get to the 9 o'clock hour and they can get away with it, they're probably going to cover this wall to wall. I imagine Fox, I don't know if Fox 4 has 9 o'clock news on Sundays or not, but I'm sure once we get into the 9 o'clock hour, if they can get away from whatever that spelling bee is or whatever that programming is, they'll probably cover this thing wall to wall once it's actually in the Metroplex here. And, normally I'd be in front of the green screen here, but I knew this was going to be a long event, so I was going to do myself a favor and sit. I've got several days coming up, too. So I have the option to just use the storm desk here, so I was going to take advantage of that for now. And then, we may end up using the green screen a little bit more this week. So this storm, the National Weather Service still has this marked as a destructive storm. And this is going to be, like I say, this is going to be when weather call comes into play. TV may not be covering this storm as much, so you're not going to get a very quick notice from them that you're under a warning. But weather call will call you directly when you are in a storm like this, or when you're in a severe thunderstorm warning, rather. And it will tell you, in a situation like this, when you have baseball-sized hail possible and you have this destructive damage threat with the storm, I mean, they're going to make sure, this weather call, you will hear my voice call you and say, hey, you have an extreme severe thunderstorm warning with very large hail, very strong winds. And so that's going to be the benefit of that service. We've had many positive reviews on that. And so that's going to be a big benefit there. Katie, the storm, I am not expecting this storm to hit Waxahachie. It doesn't look like it's going to make it that far south. So this storm moving out of Weatherford here, moving towards White Settlement, towards I would say even towards the Benbrook area at this point, going to continue to move eastward towards Fort Worth. This is no joke here, folks. This is baseball-sized hail possible with that storm. There's the information from the National Weather Service. They are saying that baseball-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. 60-mile-per-hour winds, that's about baseline for a severe thunderstorm. But baseball-sized hail, that is significant. And people and animals outdoors will be severely injured. Expect shattered windows, extensive damage to roofs, siding, and vehicles with baseball-sized hail. So that's what we have to pay attention to here, folks. That's why you have to get away from windows with this storm. And it's moving, 20 miles per hour, so it's not moving terribly fast. That will also probably lead to some flooding concerns as this storm gets into the Metroplex here. Now, I know that there was a question earlier about where it is on the highway there. It's probably riding right up the highway. So let's take a look here. Let's get the streets. Yeah, I mean, it's right on I-20 right now. Right where the Fort Worth Highway and I-20 come together. That's going to continue on eastward. It really may just ride I-20 into Fort Worth. So that's what we're looking at. Christy saying 4-inch hail has been reported. Yeah, so I mean, I've seen tennis ball sized hail. I've seen 3-inch hail. I haven't seen 4-inch hail yet. Not as far as what's been reported to the National Weather Service. Let's get the larger city names back on the map here. And we'll go back to the streets should we need to. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be right along I-20 at this point. Just near I-20, just north of I-20, probably when it takes that dip. But either way, it's headed right into the Fort Worth area. And that is the primary concern at this moment. So lots of reports of ping pong size, golf ball size hail from this storm in the Weatherford area. Lots of reports rolling into the National Weather Service right now. So this particular storm, it is concerning. This hail core moving right towards Willow Park in eastern Parker County. So this is a storm that has to be paid very close attention to. I'm going to put that up there too. I'm going to check the little Twitter feed here. Yeah, it looks like there was I saw this mentioned earlier, some kind of a lightning-related incident in Parker County. Yeah, I'm seeing some very large hail. I'm seeing that's at least 2 inches in diameter there. Looking at some hail posted on X. Very significant storm there. Man, very significant storm. So that needs to be paid very close attention to. This storm is going to be, if it continues, if it maintains its intensity, which at this point they're continuing to call for the possibility of baseball-sized hail with this storm as it is moving towards Willow Park in eastern Parker County. We will take a look at what's going on in the rest of our area here. This storm in southern Navarro County continues to move towards Fairfield. So that is in northern Freestone County at this point. Another storm, the remnants of that Dallas County storm moving through the Ferris, Wilmer area right now over towards Combine. So that's going to be much less intense than it was. I mean, that was the other very intense storm that we had, the very intense hail threat that we had. But that storm, the remnants of that, moving through parts of Ellis County right now, and that will continue to move on to the east into parts of Kaufman County. The main storm we have to pay attention to is moving right through the Willow Park area right now, perhaps just south of there. Does look like this is taking kind of a right turn just a little bit, just a little farther south than it was before. So if you're in Aledo, Benbrook, White Settlement, those are going to be the areas that have to watch for this very closely. Lake Worth as well. And then eventually right towards downtown Fort Worth. That will be worth watching. And Thomas, it does not look like that's going to hit, or at least this part of that storm is going to hit Denton. It should stay south of there. So it looks like it's going to pretty well stay south of the Denton area. As I mentioned before, make sure you're tagging people in this stream that are in the Fort Worth area. They have to know this storm is coming. We have the opportunity to give them plenty of notice. Pixel-3D, it is possible that that storm could take a right turn towards Waxahachie, but it's far too early to know if that's going to happen. I would say at this point, I'm not necessarily thinking that's going to be likely. Can't rule it out, but I'm not expecting that with this particular storm. But as this storm continues moving eastward into the Tarrant County area, the National Weather Service still marking this as a destructive storm. Baseball-sized hail, they're now marking that as, let's see, they're marking that it is, that baseball-sized hail has been observed in that storm. So I'm not seeing that report there, but there's been quite a few of them. And so golf ball size hail reported with that, $50 size, so tennis ball size hail. So a number of different reports, but they're all, the larger reports are right around that number, right around that 2-inch number. So quite an intense storm to be paying very, very close attention to in that particular area. Let's see. Megan Stone asking if that storm doesn't hit Waxahachie, then we are done for the night. Waxahachie in the clear. So I'll tell you right now, I'm thinking it's less and less likely that we will see new storms pop up tonight as the sun is going down. I think that will limit new development. So at this point, I'm not quite going to say that Waxahachie is completely in the clear. You're in the clear for the moment, at least. There doesn't seem to be anything else headed this way. But for Tarrant County, eastern Parker County, headed towards western Tarrant County, this storm is the main concern here. Jordy, it's a little early to see if this storm's going to move towards the Grand Prairie area. I mean, we'll have to see what it does going through Tarrant County, but it could possibly move that direction. So we kind of have to wait and see what this does, if it keeps its current track or if that track somehow changes. But at the moment, it's a little far away from Grand Prairie to have too much of a concern there. Looking at more information on that storm in Tarrant County right now, and not seeing a lot of confirmed sizes. Okay, so yeah, egg-sized, hen egg-sized hail reported near the I-20 and 180 split there in Parker County. So still seeing very large hail in this particular storm. Now, that looks a little better, but I'm hesitant to make any changes here to those expectations. It looks like the black has gone there, so I would just be hesitant to really give any more detail to that. If we look at the vertically integrated liquid here, I mean, that's still a nasty, nasty, nasty hail core. Somebody mentioned the storm north of Weatherford. Doesn't look like that particular storm is that intense at this time. But I'll tell you that when it comes to the storm that is headed into the Aledo area right now, just south of Willow Park, eventually about to move into western Tarrant County, it doesn't look as intense, but I want to see that updated vertically integrated liquid. see if maybe I can get focused in on that on another screen here, and then we'll bring that when that updates. Doris Polk, I'm hesitant to say that Ennis is completely done. That severe thunderstorm watch does go until 10 o'clock. It looks unlikely, though, that Ennis will see anything new. We'll keep an eye on that as we go forward. There are gusty winds with this storm as well. So in addition to the very large hail, winds of 50 to 60 miles per hour, I think, are possible with this particular storm. So be prepared for that as well if you are east of this storm itself. And we're waiting for an update on the vertically integrated liquid here to see what the hail is looking like at this point, what that hail core looks like on radar. I want to get an update there, so we're just going to waiting to see when we're going to get that update. It tends to be a frame or two behind what you're seeing now, which we'll kind of put that in motion here. It tends to be a frame or two behind what you're seeing on the screen. So we'll see what that does. Hopefully we'll get that update very, very shortly. The storm, if you notice on the screen there, the vertically integrated liquid is a little behind, but the reflectivity, which is what you're looking at now, doesn't look as intense at this point. So that's kind of where we're seeing things right now. Someone asking to go into to see those streets. Well, if I can select the right thing. What I'll tell you is that it makes the cities much smaller, so they're going to be much harder to see. But that hail core is still right there along I-20. So, right there at I-20 headed towards 1187 and 3325. So that's where we're seeing this hail core right now. So just going right down I-20. But unfortunately, like I say, the problem is it makes the towns so small. So it's hard to talk about town-wise where that storm is headed. And I'm still waiting for an update on the vertically integrated liquid radar model here to see what that hail, because I want to see if that's a weakening. It doesn't look like there's that much of a weakening trend. Maybe a little bit on that storm. So I want to see if that continues. Okay, yeah, so that hail core is looking a little less intense at this point. So we'll see if the National Weather Service will update that warning. And yeah, so that looks a lot better than what I was seeing. So this storm moving east about 20 miles per hour, but it does look like it is weakening here. So thankfully, this storm not looking too terribly intense at this time. Looks like this one is, the hail core on that is finally beginning to decrease a little bit. The National Weather Service, yes, downgrading that severe thunderstorm warning now to ping-pong size hail and 60 mile per hour winds. So this storm has been downgraded here. The warning has been downgraded itself to where we are now looking at a storm that is not nearly as intense as it was not very long ago. So that's the good news here. That storm does appear to be weakening some. Now I will tell you, there's plenty of gusty winds in this storm. It looks like those may be picking up. So as it's moving into Benbrook here, you're about to get some very strong winds on the leading edge of this storm. So just keep that in mind as we go forward. But as that hail core is now moving right towards the Aledo area, looks like that storm has been downgraded. They're now looking at ping-pong sized hail. That's still large enough to do some damage. So I want you to avoid too much exposure to windows and those kinds of things. But the good news is that this storm does look like maybe it's on a little bit of a weakening trend here. Jennifer Clark, it's unclear whether this storm will make it to downtown Dallas. It's heading into what I understand to be more stable air. So that could very well lead to this storm weakening as it continues to move on. But for the moment here, I think that's on a weakening trend. So we'll see if that continues. But right now, if that continues, then it probably won't make it to Dallas, at least not in its current form. All of that is to say we're kind of waiting. We're kind of in a wait and see pattern a little bit here. And I know people hate to hear that, but that's kind of where we're at. So just to kind of get a broader view again, this storm moving into northern Freestone County out of southern Navarro County. Still not severe warned, but lots of lightning and thunder with that storm too, just north of Curvin. I think this one will probably have a warning assigned to it here in, I would really say any time now, moving this storm from the Curvin area down towards Teague and Fairfield. So not severe at this time, but this storm is the one we've been watching just west of Fort Worth here, headed towards Aledo, headed eventually towards Westland, Benbrook, Westover Hills, White Settlement area. So that particular storm, we have been monitoring that very closely. The good news is the National Weather Service has just downgraded that warning. It was a considerable damage or a destructive damage storm that we were watching, but that has been since downgraded, and you can see the county line right there, just about to push into western parts of Tarrant County there, and quite the storm. I mean, this thing was very, very intense, but it looks like it's moving into, and I kind of wondered what might happen, but it looks to me like it's moving into more stable air, so that should help this storm to continue the weakening trend here as it moves into, continues moving on into eastern Parker County, western Tarrant County. If I can get my line straight there. And I know Fox 4 will be doing wall-to-wall coverage on this as necessary as we go into the 9 o'clock hour. So I definitely recommend following the Fox 4 crew. They've got a great team up there as we continue to monitor this storm, and I'm going to continue to watch it as well. But I'm going to need to take a break here. I haven't even had dinner yet. This has been sitting here for really most of the evening here, and I'm going to have to eat something. So stay tuned to South Metro Weather. We'll continue to monitor this throughout the rest of the evening. My guess right now is that we probably are seeing the end of the storms here just in the short term. I don't think that we are going to see anything too major after this point. If we do, though, we will bring more severe weather coverage as needed tonight. But I'm going to have to take a breather here. Tune in to Fox 4 News for live coverage starting at 9 p.m. very, very soon. They will, of course, be covering this storm as it moves into Navarro County. Thank you so much for tuning in. More updates to come if needed from South Metro Weather. Otherwise, everyone have a wonderful night.